Chapter 1151, Scythe Breath Oddity, Number 1 Expert in the Pan Plane. 2. Levi's frail figure appeared from within. I've traveled more than 5,000 kilometers in one go. I should be safe. I didn't expect there to be an existence on the third level that could break through all my defenses. That person's strength is at least equivalent to 3 sorceres. As expected of the amethyst race, an invincible existence in the same realm. Fortunately, before I entered the ancient tower, I grasped the Scarlet Dragon Dharma idol and could escape into the Scarlet Dark Dimension. I finally escaped safely. Levi made a shelter, set up an array, and hurriedly sat cross-legged. After taking the medicine, he began to recuperate. With the power of the Death Ember Dragon, his injuries had all healed themselves, but his body was a little deficient. He would be fine after resting for a day or two. The amethyst race is despicable. They sent a level 5 expert to camp near the teleportation portal to trick others. When I reach the 5th circle, I must get back at them. If he did not reach the 5th circle or Night Realm, he would not dare to face that amethyst race expert. Even with the 7 Kings array, he would not be able to do so. If not for the small number of these things, they would be the nemesis of wizards. The next day, Levi, who had recovered from his injuries, opened his eyes. In the tea-time round table, 100 Flowers appeared. She asked, "Commander, which level are you on?" Levi said, "I'm on the 3rd level." Not long after I arrived, a level 5 amethyst race expert blocked the door at the bottom. I was prepared, so I escaped. When you enter the 7th level, you must be careful to prevent being ambushed by other wizards and foreign races. 100 Flowers' expression turned cold, and she said, "This damn amethyst race is indeed detestable. They're getting more arrogant just because the Amethyst Saint is one of the top 5 experts in the plane. Is the Amethyst Saint so strong? There are 3,000 civilizations on the Sauron plane. There should be close to 100 level 10 existences. Looking at the entire plane, if we include some hidden powerhouses, it should be about the same. Currently, only 72 level 10 powerhouses are in the Congress's statistical range. Including the Deep Blue Sage who just died, our wizard civilization takes up 1/6 of the total. The Amethyst Saint is ranked 5th and was inferior to the Blazing Sun God Wizard Edmund of our Congress. However, his body is almost indestructible and can resist legendary spells. He is very difficult to deal with. However, his strength is also dependent on the Amethyst plane. If the Amethyst Saint leaves the plane, the Blazing Sun God Wizard can teach him a lesson. In addition, according to what I know, a few experts above level 6 from the Amethyst race have already cleared the 6th level and are heading to the 7th level. This time, they have a peak level 8 general leading them. This general had participated in the Dark Ancient Tower opening last time and had even entered the 9th level. At that time, a witch at the peak of the 8th circle entered the 9th level of our wizard civilization. That senior obtained the sacred medicine Undying Bird Fruit and the glorious sun-grade oddity Fish of the North Sea on the 9th level. I suspect that the Amethyst civilization's goal this time might not be just the 7th, 8th, and 9th levels, but the legendary 10th level. Levi's expression changed. Doesn't the 10th level require the strength of a great wizard to step foot on? Since ancient times, no one has ever reached the top. There was no solution to this. Level 9 existences could not enter the Dark Ancient Tower, and there was a huge threshold between level 8 and level 9. It was comparable to a 5th circle wizard and a 6th circle primordial soul. Level 9 was also known as the demigod realm. It meant that a mortal's body could already match or even kill demigods like angels under the gods. 100 Flowers sighed. That's right. Logically speaking, that should be the case. I hope I'm overthinking. Next, Levi chatted with 100 Flowers while she was resting. Talking to a primordial soul wizard like 100 Flowers could benefit him every time. With his realm, there were many things that he could not come into contact with. There were 72 known level 10 existences in the plane. Of course, after the Deep Blue Sage died, there were 71 of them. This did not include the Abyss, which was a super-large plane. The vastness of the universe and the insignificance of individuals could be seen from this. The Amethyst Saint was ranked 5th among the 72 level 10 existences. The Radiant Sun God Wizard was ranked 4th. This was already the highest level of legendary wizards in the wizard civilization. Ranked 3rd was Void Holy Seed Hera. She was a female powerhouse and the leader of the Void race in the Land of Darkness. She established the Void Holy Temple on the other side of the general plane and had several level 10 existences under her command. She was also a superpower that spanned many planes but was still inferior to the Congress. Number 2 was the ruler of the Red Plane, Fire Sovereign Grias. It was said that they had lived for nearly 1,000,000 years. In front of them, the Wizard Council was all newborns. He was sleeping in a large fire element plane and was the ancestor of the fire elemental spirit, Phoenix. Grias was also a powerful living being. Although he was not a god of the astral world, he was no different from a god. He was known as the fire god beneath the astral world, the son of the sun god. Relying on his long lifespan, he could become stronger by sleeping on the red plane. 1,000,000 years later, no one in the entire plane was his opponent. However, his personality was Buddhist, similar to that of a lone ranger in the land of darkness. He was either sleeping or traveling. He did not have the slightest desire to contend for supremacy. To these innate gods, most races' civilization games were just child's play. The reason why the Congress was able to get to where they were today was all because of the man who was ranked first. He was publicly acknowledged as the number 1 expert on the plane. Chapter 1152, Scythe Breath Oddity, number 1 expert in the Pan Plane. 3. Sauron. Even though Sauron had most likely died, no one had questioned his first ranking for so long after his death. Every time a level 10 alien wanted to challenge Sauron's authority and call himself the number 1 expert in the plane, the Fire Sovereign would find him and beat him up. You can't even defeat me, the eternal second place. Are you worthy of the title of first place? The most ridiculous thing was that Levi learned about it from the Flower Knight. According to the observations of the Congress's Eye of Sauron, the number 1 expert on the plane was watching the battle outside the dark ancient tower. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. The longevity species were really good. While he was cultivating tirelessly all day, others were sleeping and watching the show. They were born at the level 10 endpoint that most wizards could not reach. He stood up and left the shelter. The third level was the land of the wind element. In the air, there was a strong wind element. The herbs, ores, and other materials on this floor must be related to the wind element. According to the previous progress, teams from top wizard organizations like Anya might have already gone to the 4th level. Those still on the 3rd level should be teams from inferior wizard organizations. Levi planned to walk around the resource points on the 3rd level first. Although there was a high chance that there was nothing good left, with his 40% luck increase, there should still be a chance of picking up something. 3 days later, Levi flew out of a valley. He was in a good mood. At this resource point, he had obtained some wind attribute medicinal herbs. Suddenly, he sensed danger and his expression changed. A black figure quickly approached from the front. At the same time, a scorching flame breath extended for nearly 10 miles and blasted towards Levi. The protective force field around Levi's body lit up. In the end, he barely blocked this terrifying attack. Without hesitation, he entered the Scarlet Dark Dimension and disappeared again. A black figure descended from the sky. He was covered in ferocious black scales and had dragon wings on his back. His dragon claws shone with a cold light. He was the level 5 dragon abomination who had fought with the Amethyst race a few days ago. Damn it, I'm lost again. I wanted to catch a wizard to ask for directions, but he ran away. He cursed as he flew away. Levi's figure emerged from the Scarlet Dark Dimension 10,000 miles away. My luck isn't good. I've already encountered level 5 aliens twice, and they're not ordinary level 5 aliens. Although that guy just now looks like a dragon descendant, from the crazy and chaotic aura and the iconic black scale, he should be a dragon evil more powerful than a dragon descendant. Speaking of which, it's a good idea if I disguise myself as a dragon abomination to fight next. Soon, he disappeared into the horizon, flying towards the second resource point. A few days later, a canyon that looked like it had been cut open by an axe suddenly appeared in the sandstorm-infested wilderness. The canyon was more than 1,000 miles deep. The wind element here was extremely rich, similar to the Rogue Rift in the Yellow Earth continent. A terrifying great hurricane erupted from the exit of the canyon. Ordinary low-level wizards found it difficult to fly inside. The giant axe canyon should be here. According to the information, this place produces a rare level 4 wind element weapon-making material called wind sand. There's also a small chance of producing a level 5 wind element material, mist sand. Just as Levi was about to step in, he realized that someone seemed to have set up an array at the canyon's entrance. He hesitated for a moment before the Scarlet Dragon Dharma idol appeared and brought him through the array. A wind wall rippled and then returned to calm. Although the range of this array is large, it's only at ordinary level 4. There's no way it can stop me. He could easily break this array with his knowledge of arrays, but that would alarm the array's owner. Therefore, it was the safest to sneak through. In the canyon, Levi's hermit rune flickered as he slowly advanced in the strong wind. Not long after he left the array, a 4-ringed wizard in a white robe flew over. Seeing that the array was safe and sound, he heaved a sigh of relief. The next day, another 4th circle wizard arrived and was about to step in when he was suddenly stopped. The hurricane steeple has already reserved this place. Please retreat on your own to avoid unnecessary death. The 4th circle wizard guarding the array said coldly. Is the dark ancient tower everyone's fortuitous opportunity? What right does hurricane steeple have to reserve the entire place? This 4th circle wizard was indignant. He had gone through many hardships to come here. How could he give up so easily? Even if the other party was a top-notch wizard organization, he could not be so arrogant and domineering. In dark ancient tower, treasures belong to the capable. This isn't the wizard world. If you don't have the strength, stay in the first 2 levels obediently and dig up some herbs. You won't return empty-handed in the future. The hurricane steeple wizard sneered. He continued, leave. We're all wizards. We don't want to kill each other and be taken advantage of by the foreign races. Humph, we won't know until we try. Accompanied by the roar of spells, the 2 4th circle wizards started fighting at the canyon entrance. Not long after, the nomadic wizard, the 4th circle wizard, was beaten until he vomited blood. He hurriedly used a life-saving secret technique and quickly escaped. You overestimate yourself. Do you want to get your hands on the treasures in the canyon with your strength? With me guarding this canyon, no one can sneak in. There were only 2 entrances to the Giant Axe Canyon. One was here, and the other was occupied by a level 5 transcendent native creature. It was powerful and extremely aggressive, so no one could enter. Chapter 1153, Scythe Breath Oddity, Number 1 Expert in the Pan Plane. 4. In the canyon, Levi moved to a rock wall and struck out with his palm. The rock shook off, revealing a faint green light. Levi was delighted and said to himself, Wind Sand, the information is not lying to me. I'll accept it. He immediately used a spell to shake off the dust and gravel on it. In the end, he harvested about 5 kilograms of wind sand. I can make a 4th circle wizard tool now. Not bad. Satisfied, Levi put away the materials and continued to search. If he could find a large amount of mist sand, he could recast his wind thunder wings. It allowed the wind thunder wings to possess the characteristics of the mist sand, making them more tenacious, agile, and sharp. Most importantly, the mist sand could quickly wear down the wizard tool, greatly reducing the lifespan of the wizard tool. It was extremely vicious. Suddenly, Levi, who was flying, struck out with his palm. A small beast that looked like a weasel but had wings on its back was held in his palm. The little beast only had the strength of a 1st circle wizard. No matter how it struggled, it could not escape Levi's grasp. Interesting, it's a flying scythe beast. There used to be many of these things in the realm of Azure Cloud and the realm of Divine Wind, but because their fur was the main material for making spell scrolls and some low-level wizard tools, they were hunted in large numbers and their populations were destroyed. Later on, they were very rare and could only be seen in some shadow realms and secret realms. Levi thought for a moment and let the little guy go. After knowing that Levi was dangerous, the flying scythe beast quickly left. After that, very few flying scythe beasts came to harass him. Levi's hermit rune flashed and disappeared from the spot. After walking for a long time, the sound of fighting suddenly came from ahead. His expression changed as he quietly approached. In front, a 4th circle wizard in a white robe was fighting a green bird. There was a tornado pattern on the wizard's white robe. They're from Hurricane Steeple. It looks like they set up the array in the canyon. These large organizations like this. But it's understandable. If I were from these organizations, I would probably do the same. As for the green bird, its body was not big although it was a level 4 creature. It was only the size of an ordinary eagle. Its appearance was more like a hummingbird. It was like a fish swimming in the wind. Around its feathers were cyclones. Every time he flew, he would disappear on the spot as if he was flashing. Then, he would suddenly appear and transform into a green arrow that charged towards the wizard from Hurricane Steeple fearlessly. Levi watched the battle quietly and muttered to himself, the green-winged wind chaser bird was declared extinct by the Transcendent Creature Research Association 3,000 years ago. Very few wizards knew about this bird. Levi only knew about it because it contained the bloodline of the legendary creature Aurora bird. As the commander, he knew his team members' breathing techniques like the back of his hand. Goddess Night Elsa's breathing technique originated from the Aurora bird. This little bird's spell-like ability is similar to my wind dragon disease. It can dodge and move in a short distance. It can be said to be invincible. Unfortunately, that wizard has a fourth circle protective wizard tool and a force field. He's already invincible. The wizard was also angered by the green-winged wind chaser bird. He cursed angrily, "Isn't it just eating a few of your eggs? Is there a need to do this?" With a thought, he released hundreds and thousands of wind blades. The innate spell, Thousand Wind Slash. Wind blades shot out like a storm. In the void, the flashing green-winged wind chaser bird was forced out. The white robe wizard used the hurricane to form a whip and sent the wind chaser bird flying. Bang! The wind chaser bird wailed and crashed into the cliff. "Today, I might as well roast you and eat you. Then, I'll use the materials on you to refine potions." In his hand, high-speed airflow formed a sword blade. Just as he was about to end the wind chaser bird, a deep red wound suddenly appeared behind him. A black scale dragon claw shattered his force field, grabbed his head, and dragged him in. This scene happened too quickly. In the outside world, on the projection of the third level on the dark ancient tower, everyone saw a wizard from Hurricane Steeple being dragged into a scarlet crack by a black scale dragon claw. Everything returned to normal. This is a dragon abomination. The dragonfly wizard had sharp eyes and could tell the enemy's identity at a glance. According to the information, the demon sword dragon wizard was extremely in love with the sword. He would use the sword to deal with any enemy, even if they were mortals. He would not fight with his bare hands. At least 100 dragon abominations had come to the dragon abomination plane when the ancient tower opened this time. Now, they were killing in all directions in the ancient tower. Many wizards, especially some dragon descendant wizards, had suffered heavy casualties. Hence, these iconic ferocious black dragon scales were dragon abominations. In the Scarlet Dark Dimension, the wizard from Hurricane Steeple was dumbfounded. With his realm, he could not sense how the enemy was approaching. The most terrifying thing was that the other party could shatter his force field with his bare hands and drag him into this unknown dimension. This meant that the other party's strength was far stronger than his. Levi had the appearance of a dragon abomination. He had a ferocious black dragon head and was 30 feet tall. Black dragon wings grew on his back, and his indestructible armor transformed into pitch-black dragon scales that covered his body. His pitch-black dragon claws shone with a cold light as he held the black flame sword in his hand. Black demonic flames surged around his body. He stood on the blood-colored dragon's head and asked coldly, "How many people have come to Hurricane Steeple? How many people are on the third floor? What are you doing here? Tell me everything in detail. Since you know I'm from the Hurricane Steeple, you're a dragon descendant wizard and not a dragon abomination. I advise you to let me go." All the wizards who entered the Dark Ancient Tower team this time have tracking marks on each other. If you dare to kill me, you won't be able to walk out of the Ancient Tower alive. This wizard pretended to be calm and said with a mocking expression. Chapter 1154, Scythe Breath Oddity, Number 1 Expert in the Pan Plane. 5. Swoosh. The sword fell. The fourth circle wizard was cut in half at the waist but did not die immediately. Waves of blood fog instantly stitched up his organs. His face was pale, and cold sweat was pouring out. It was as if he had walked in front of the underworld gate. For a moment, he felt that the lower half of his body no longer belonged to him. I'll talk. A total of 30 wizards entered our Hurricane Steeple, 5 primordial souls, 25 fourth circles and fifth circles. The main group is already on the way to the 5th level. Our 5-man team is in charge of searching for treasures on the 3rd level. After saying that, he looked at the black scale dragon man with a bitter expression. You won't let me go, right? There was still a trace of anticipation in his eyes. Smart, you got it right. Slash. The long sword pierced through his chest. A soul imprint that looked like a hurricane quickly flew towards Levi and entered Leon's body. Master, I want to come out and bask in the sun. There's nothing in the book. It's too boring, Leon said. Sure. Levi emerged from the Scarlet Dark Dimension and opened the wizard's storage bags. 80,000 ether stones was better than nothing. Usually, wizards who entered the ancient tower would not bring large amounts of ether stones with them. There was no trading order here. Other than arrays, alchemy, and other daily cultivation consumption, ether stones were useless. Apart from that, there was also a fourth circle wizard tool. Wind ring. It could defend and release hurricanes and wind blades. Not bad. Then, there were some spell knowledge and casting materials. Finally, Levi saw a container that looked like a pumpkin. When it was opened, it was shiny and full of wind sand. This is at least 50 kilograms. Looks like the hurricane steeple has gained quite a lot here. He unceremoniously put these things away. He knew that he would gain something on the third level. After counting his gains, Levi realized the injured green-winged wind chaser bird had already flown away. Levi followed the trail of blood and breath, searching all the way. Before long, he arrived at a cave on the cliff. He used perception and entered the cave. Indeed, he found a nest in the depths of the cave. The wind chaser bird was lying among them. It was severely injured. When it saw Levi coming, it immediately became vigilant. It flew up and charged at Levi. Levi's body lit up with a force field and easily blocked its attack. No matter how hard it tried, he could not break through his defense. He reached out and grabbed its body. "Stop fooling around. I'm here to save you," he said softly. Blood fog coiled around his hand, enveloping the wind chaser bird. Not long after, Levi, the surgeon, stitched up the external injuries on its body. After forcefully feeding it some medicine, the wind chaser bird's injuries were much better. It felt that Levi did not have any ill intentions, so it gave up struggling. It was mainly because struggling was useless. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. Levi released the wind chaser bird and threw out the fourth circle wizard's corpse. "I'll avenge you. This corpse is yours." The wind chaser bird immediately became agitated. It turned into a green light and pierced through the corpse time and time again, completely shattering it. It was bathed in blood and stood rooted to the ground. Its enemy was dead, but its child was also gone. "Come with me," Levi said suddenly. "I'll get you out of here." The wind chaser bird was different from a mixed blood dragon clan like the crimson-horned fire python. It was difficult for Levi to tame it directly, so he was trying to abduct it. The wind chaser bird pondered. It looked at Levi and kept wailing. After thinking for a long time, it nodded like a human and flew up, circling Levi. "I'll call you Ching Niao from now on. Crimson Horn, make way and let Ching Niao stand on your shoulder." Levi pulled the crimson-horned fire python onto his arm. The crimson-horned fire python felt aggrieved, but could only do as it was told. Levi now had Crimson Horn on the left and Ching Niao on the right. Leon was behind him, and Night Fang followed him in the shadows. It could be said to be a walking zoo. He came here mainly to collect transcendent creatures. Especially those with mutant bloodlines. To him, they were all wealth. "Ching Niao, do you have a companion? Where did your egg come from?" Levi asked. The green bird pointed to the other end of the canyon. Levi understood. So the father of the child was on that side. "Before I leave the third level, I'll take it with me. It won't be able to reproduce on its own if I go back," Levi thought. If the other wind chaser bird was unwilling to go with him, he would leave Raja or Leon's position in the Book of Seals empty and seal it forcefully. He would slowly tame it when he returned. There were still 4 hurricane steeple wizards in the Giant Axe Canyon according to that person's confession. One of them was called Ataya. She was known as the daughter of Hurricane and was in the 4th Circle Perfection Realm, a wind element child. Among the 4th Circle wizards of the Hurricane Steeple who had entered the ancient tower this time, her strength was second only to son of Hurricane Van Dis and Prince of Airstream Gavin. The last 2 were fierce people who had entered the top 100 Earth rankings as 4th Circle wizards. The Hurricane Steeple had sealed off the Giant Axe Canyon. On one hand, it was to collect wind sand and mist sand alone. On the other hand, it was for a truth oddity that was about to be born. The wind element earth grade oddity, Scythe Breath. This truth oddity was usually born in places with strong wind elements. Moreover, there was another condition for its birth. The place where it was nurtured required many flying scythe beasts. Chapter 1155, Scythe Breath Oddity, Number 1 Expert in the Pan Plane. 6. It was said that before the flying scythe beast died, it would find a quiet place to die and form a huge flying scythe beast graveyard. By chance, it was possible to give birth to Scythe Breath. This truth oddity had 4 functions recorded in Oddities Illustrated. First, it slightly increased the upper limit of his spiritual force. Second, it increased the power of the storm faction's spells. Thirdly, it could enhance the hearing of the person who refined it, especially in windy weather or in the sky. It was said that without using spells, one could detect the slightest movement within a radius of hundreds of kilometers and whisper to each other. Fourthly, it could control the flying scythe beasts in an area and communicate with them. Of course, the functions recorded in the Strange Object Index were all summarized by the person who refined it previously. The effects of strange items varied from person to person. In short, the quality of this scythe breath was considered top-notch among Earth-level strange items. Its function was even stronger than Levi's water dragon's song. Although I didn't come to the ancient tower for the truth oddity, such a treasure belongs to the virtuous. Since I know about it, a symbol belongs to me. According to that person, this truth oddity would only appear in about 3 years. Therefore, the daughter of Hurricane got someone to guard this place while she guarded the truth oddity and waited for it to appear. She was determined to obtain it. Levi's hermit rune flashed and slowly disappeared. He asked the transcendent creatures to stay here for the time being and set up a concealment array for them. He wanted to check if it was true. At the same time, the white-robed wizard guarding the array at the entrance of the canyon looked at the shattered soul token in his storage bags and his expression changed. He quickly took out his wizard tool. Attention, everyone! Someone has snuck into the canyon and killed Vale. Everyone, be on guard! He was shocked. There was someone who could sneak into the array right under his nose. The intruder might be a fifth circle wizard. There was a hidden grotto heaven in the middle of the canyon. The wind element here was rich, but there was no wind disaster. It was very quiet, and the primitive forest inside was lush. In the middle of the forest was a graveyard filled with the skeletons of flying scythe beasts. An illusory shadow of a flying scythe beast floated in it, looking left and right. Its body seemed to be formed by air currents, flickering with mysterious runes. A blonde witch with an impressive figure and curvaceous curves was meditating here. Some alarm arrays were set up around her. She was not wearing a wizard's robe but a tight suit. She was the daughter of Hurricane. Hurry up and come out. After I take you, I still have to go to the 5th level, the daughter of Hurricane muttered. Although she was a child of the elements, she had never refined a truth oddity. Even if she was in a hurry to go to the 5th level, it was impossible for her to give up a ready-made truth oddity. Suddenly, the communication wizard tool sounded. Her expression changed slightly when she saw the message. Vale's dead. She immediately became vigilant and looked around, spreading her perception. She did not know that at this moment, in the distance, a figure was hiding in the dense forest. It's really the aura of the scythe breath. Looks like it won't come out for 3 years. If it could be born immediately, it would have long been taken away by the primordial soul wizard. Although this level of truth oddity was useless to them, they could exchange it for money or give it to their descendants. To them, the most important thing was to head to the 6th level as soon as possible and race against time to find truth oddities above the Morning Star level. However, Levi wasn't in a hurry. Since there was a truth oddity here, there was no harm in waiting for another 3 years. He could continue mining in this canyon and collect transcendent creatures. He would let the other top organizations fight and kill on the 5th level first. He would pick up the trash last. Let's start clearing the area. After all, the people from Hurricane Steeple won't come down to take revenge on me. Levi quietly approached the daughter of Hurricane. Who is it? The daughter of Hurricane suddenly waved her hand, and dense wind blades swept across a radius of several kilometers with her as the center. Countless trees collapsed and dust flew everywhere. The scythe breath was also frightened and fled into the forest. Human, good perception. Unfortunately, it's too late. A tall black scale dragon man casually sent countless wind blades flying. He grinned and shot out like a cannonball. Boom! The black tail flame passed through the dense forest and Levi arrived in an instant. In his palm, the crimson emperor dragon flames and the black flame void coiled and spun, condensing into a red-black fireball. Twin dragons playing with pearls. Spiral explosion. With his current control, he could already casually rub the spiral pills with his hands. Boom! An intense explosion swept through the forest. The trees turned into charcoal and were blown away by the high temperature. The figure of the daughter of Hurricane appeared from the explosion. Her face was pale, and a never-ending tornado wrapped around her, blowing away all the explosions and flames. A 5th circle wizard tool. Levi's heart skipped a beat. With her realm, she could not use the 5th circle wizard tool more than a few times. Come, let me see the methods of a wizard. He clenched his fists tightly, and the black scales on his body trembled, emitting a terrifying metallic sound, like a rattlesnake ready to attack. Boom! He sent the wind blade flying with a punch, causing sparks to fly everywhere. Dragon Abomination! The daughter of Hurricane was shocked. She had fought the Dragon Abomination before. The other party was a Dragon Abomination at the peak of level 4. Although she won, it was only a narrow victory and left a deep impression on her. Among the Dark Ancient Tower foreign races, the Dragon Abomination was terrifying, second only to the Amethyst race. It was much stronger than the Ancient Tomb race, which was also a large civilization. Bang! Black flames filled the sky. Another twin dragons playing with pearls. Her whirlwind force field began to tremble. Her fifth ring wizard tool was the advanced version of the wind ring, the Hurricane Ring. This was a standard wizard tool produced by the Hurricane Steeple. It was not top grade, but it was not something ordinary level 4s could shake. Only the son of Hurricane and the Prince of Airstream could produce such an effect among her peers. These two people could have crystallized their fifth circle long ago. To increase the upper limit of their spiritual force, they had deliberately reached the perfection fourth circle realm. Their strength and methods had long reached their peak. With this thought in mind, she wanted to escape. However, she couldn't bear to give up on Scythe Breath. After hesitating for a moment, she braced herself and relied on the remaining power of the fifth circle spell to blast at that person with her innate spell. Wind blades, air cannons, and hurricanes filled the sky. Ordinary fourth circle senior wizards would have died long ago. The daughter of Hurricane looked at the mess on the ground, but she did not see the figure of the Dragon Abomination. She suddenly laughed crazily. Come on, ugly thing! Do you only know how to hide? Weren't you very arrogant just now? Suddenly, in midair, the scarlet hole split open, and a black stream of light descended from the sky. Another twin dragons playing with pearls shot out, and black flames rose like a mushroom cloud. Amidst the flames, the thick dragon claws shattered the remaining power of the force field. Boom! Earth collapsed and sank, and smoke and dust filled the air. A demon-like body crawled out of the pit filled with minced meat and bone fragments. Thick black flames spewed out of its mouth. Foolish human, you attacked me when you couldn't defeat me, right? Among the dragon abominations, Levi's appearance was considered a handsome man. Chapter 1156, Evil Dragon's Demonic Might. 1. The Ancient Saint Plain. Dusk Holy Temple. Year 2 of the Ancient Tower Expedition. The knights were already busy training and cultivating. Only some apprentice wizards were left behind to record the exciting battle projected on the Ancient Tower with the shadow retaining wizard tools so that they could facilitate subsequent research. The elites of the top wizard organizations, such as the Fire Dragon Destroyer, the Golden Light Wizard, the Mountain God, the Snow Lotus Witch, and so on, could be said to be high intensity. One moment, he was suppressing the nomadic wizards, and the next moment, he was fighting the powerful foreign races. The people watching felt their blood boil and applauded. As for the commander, he only showed his face once in the first battle. After that, he disappeared. Although these two battles were extremely stunning and left a deep impression on people, the problem was that too many monsters appeared in the ancient tower this time. In comparison, the two battles were just average. In the knights' hearts, this was not their commander's true strength. He wasn't serious at all. This reminded them of their commander's catchphrase. Develop steadily, keep a low profile, don't cause trouble, and don't be afraid of trouble. One had to know that human vanity was a very scary thing. Even those powerful geniuses were no exception. They tried their best to show their faces and make their presence known. He didn't know how his commander could control himself. Suddenly, another battle projection came from the third level of the ancient tower. In the projection, a blonde witch controlled hurricanes and wind blades. She had an imposing aura. Around her, a figure swam around like black lightning and resisted the wind blades that could cut through gold and jade. As it attacked, a terrifying black flame mushroom cloud rose into the sky and swept through everything. After a round of fighting, a black shadow descended from the sky and killed the witch with a flying crow. The scene ended there. Seeing this scene, the knight could not help but exclaim, "This monster is so strong. This strength, this explosive feeling, it's full of tension, but it's a little ugly. My evaluation isn't as good as our commander's. Our commander is the real combination of strength and beauty." Endless Sea. Witch's family, Triss Cottage. Triss came out of the laboratory, took off her white-robed uniform, and entered the bathroom. After showering, she changed into a bathrobe. Her hair casually draped over her shoulders as she lay on the sofa and picked up a cup of fine wine to savor it. She took a break from her busy schedule and replayed the projection. Seeing that Anya and his teammates cooperated well and defeated powerful enemies, she smiled and muttered, "Not bad, there's progress." He silently mastered the 5th innate spell. Why is it a defensive spell again? Isn't this kid's 4th talent defense? This doesn't seem like his style. This is also good. With more defensive methods in the ancient tower, he can survive better. Levi hasn't come out to show his face for so long. Could he have encountered an accident? Or is he already silently making a fortune? This guy is very cunning. She believed in Levi's ability. Even though she had not seen him for more than a year, she was a little worried. She took a look at the latest battle on the photographic slate. This seems to be the proud daughter of heaven from the hurricane steeple. She's much stronger than Anya. She has 5 innate spells and a perfection spiritual force, but she was crushed by a dragon abomination. The dragon abomination race is beautiful with its ugly appearance. It's best to be crazy and perverted. The stronger it is, the more noble its bloodline is. This dragon abomination must be a noble in its race. On the 3rd level at the flying scythe beast's graveyard, thick smoke rose from all directions, and it was a scene of devastation. After Levi finished cleaning up the spoils of war, he looked around and swept his spiritual force across. Soon, he found the truth oddity hiding in a big tree. It had yet to be nurtured and would not leave this place. When it was born, it would swim in the wind disaster layer high in the sky. Its appearance was similar to a real flying scythe beast. At that time, it would be difficult to capture it. He began to set up an array. Protection, traps, surveillance, and alarm arrays were all available. He left Crimson Horn, Qing Niao, Night Fang, and the 3 corpse demons here to guard the place, only bringing Leon. Keep an eye on this place. Other than me, no one else is allowed to approach. Guillermo, I'll leave this place to you. Guillermo nodded. Don't worry, Master. After making all the preparations, Levi's hermit rune flashed and disappeared. Giant Axe Canyon. The 3 fourth circle wizards gathered together and spread their spiritual force to find the murderer of Where. Why don't we split up and search? We'll communicate with each other after we find it. That'll be more efficient, a wizard asked. No. The enemy can easily pass through the array and kill Will. None of us are his match. If we scatter, we will be defeated one by one. The white-robe wizard guarding the array said. He was the deputy team leader. That's true. But with the team leader around, he probably won't be able to cause much trouble. The strength of a 4th circle perfection is very rare on the 3rd level, another wizard said. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud slap. The white-robe wizard looked in the direction of the sound and saw that the soul token belonging to the team leader, daughter of Hurricane, had cracked. What? Is the team leader dead? He said in disbelief. It's fake, right? Even the level 5 transcendent creature at the other end of the canyon can't kill the team leader. She's a genius in the top 30 of the Endless Sea Stars League. How can a soul token lie? Forget it, let's not look for the murderer. Let's retreat and meet up with the main group on the 5th level. It'll be dangerous if we continue to stay here. The white-robe wizard said. Chapter 1157, Evil Dragon's Demonic Might. 2. What about the truth oddity? If you want it, continue guarding it. It's obvious that the person is here for the truth oddity. Forget it, let's retreat. In any case, with this wind sand in hand, it's not a loss. The 3 fourth circle wizards guarded against each other and flew towards the exit of the canyon. Among the 3, there were 2 fourth circle seniors and 1 fourth circle ordinary. Together, they were a powerful force. When they reached the exit, their eyes froze, their breathing quickened, and their hearts beat faster. A pitch-black dragon abomination that was 3 stories tall was resting with its eyes closed, sitting cross-legged on a huge rock. As if sensing that someone was coming, he opened his eyes and exhaled a high-temperature gas filled with the smell of sulfur, roasting the air in front of him until it deformed. The corners of his mouth curled up. His appearance was ferocious, and his temperament was crazy and abnormal. He was like a murderous demon. Kill yourselves so that I don't have to do anything. It's too troublesome. Those weak mortal bodies don't make me feel motivated. He said indifferently. His arrogance was extremely arrogant, and he was a completely evil force. Arrogant. You're just a simple-minded level 4 dragon abomination with all 4 limbs. You want to challenge the authority of us wizards by relying on your mutated dragon clan bloodline. The white-robe wizard sneered and heaved a sigh of relief. He did not sense any spiritual force fluctuation from the other party. First of all, he eliminated the dragon descendant wizard. With such an appearance, it must be the dragon abomination. The dragon's sin was indeed powerful. Ordinary wizards were no match for it in the same realm. If the person who came was a level 5 dragon abomination, he would have run away without looking back. Looking at it now, it was only at the level 4 dragon abomination level. With the strength of the 3 of them, it shouldn't be a problem to kill or repel them. The team leader must have underestimated the enemy and was ambushed by the enemy. Otherwise, he would have been able to defeat him. Attack together. Don't be careless. The protective force field can't be broken. The 2 of you control it and create an opportunity for me. I'll kill it in one go. After he transmitted his voice. With a raise of his hand, he unleashed a violent wind blade technique. A sharp tornado squeezed out of the canyon and charged towards the dragon abomination. Of the other 2 wizards, one used the wind chain technique and the other used the wind wall technique. It seemed like they wanted to seal his movements and control the dragon abomination. They also took out all their 4th circle wizard tools. They were all standard wind ring wizard tools. This wizard tool was the same as the secret fire sphere. It could be used for offense and defense, and its cost was relatively low. Of course, its power was only average. Although it was common in the organization, it was indeed useful. This was the benefit of being a top-notch wizard organization. If it were a small organization or a nomadic wizard with a 4th circle weapon, only a few would have a 4th circle weapon. The 3 4th circle wizards of large organizations were all elites in the wizard market. Before they came, they had been training. Now that they were fighting, they had an extremely tacit understanding. If it was an ordinary 4th circle perfection cultivator, they might also fail. Unfortunately, they met Levi. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. The dragon abomination smirked in disdain. He extended his dragon claw and grabbed the wind chain. His veins bulged and his black scale exploded. The flame dragon's true form suddenly exerted strength. Come here. The 4th circle wizard did not expect such a move. He was decisive and quickly let go. Levi snapped the chain apart. Levi's brute force tore apart the wind wall. He crashed into the incoming tornado. The black scales on his body rubbed against the countless wind blades, causing sparks to fly. His golden snake breathing technique had long stepped into level 15. He was not far from level 16, the 4th transformation of the blood source realm. Therefore, the golden scales defense was much stronger than when he had just stepped into level 15. He's too arrogant. Even a 4th circle senior body refining wizard would be severely injured by my innate spell. Both of you, use your innate spells to annihilate him and avenge our team leader. The white-robe wizard said happily. These foreign races were too arrogant and ignorant. They did not know how superior the methods used by wizards to construct knowledge were. Boom! The spells that filled the sky fell, but they hit empty air. Behind the white-robe wizard, a pitch-black spectre appeared. Assembled his hands, the sound of tigers and leopards thundered. His bones and tendons rang at the same time. His arms expanded and he used a great suppression technique. Boom! It was the wind ring wizard tool the white-robe wizard used to protect his body. With a sound, it was covered in cracks. Symbols disappeared, clearly broken. He could not care less about his heartache and hurriedly controlled the protective force field, but it was also in vain. The dragon abomination's large hand held him together with the force field in his palm. Then, with his palm facing down, he suddenly fell and pressed into the ground. Boom! As the giant axe canyon shook, another huge pit was formed. Under the terrifying impact, the white-robe wizard's force field shattered and he was flattened. Deputy team leader. The other 2 wizards were furious when they saw this scene. However, their rationality and desire to survive made them quickly fly towards the exit. In Levi's hand, wind and lightning feathers as thin as cicada wings appeared. With a wave of his hand, 3,000 feathers flew out. The wind and thunder flickered and disappeared without a trace. Then, they appeared like a storm. 3,000 wind thunder invisible sword chi. Levi had casually made up a nice name, but in fact, it was to throw hidden weapons. Slash! Even if only 1/10 of the 3,000 feathers hit the target. It was enough to stab the two fourth circle wizards into sieves, and the two corpses fell to the earth. Tisk tisk tisk, humans are really weak. Levi smiled perversely and put away the corpse and the spoils of war. Leon was responsible for cleaning up the mess and ate the soul imprint snacks crazily. The hurricane steeple has probably discovered that the team on the third level has been wiped out. But what does this have to do with Levi? Chapter 1158, Evil Dragon's Demonic Might. 3. Even if their people saw the projection, it was done by the dragon abomination. He changed into his fourth circle protective array at the entrance of the array. I'll patrol the canyon again and cultivate here for 3 years after ensuring that it's safe. The hermit rune flashed and his figure disappeared in the wind disaster. Endless Sea. Hurricane Straits. Hurricane Steeple Encampment. Wizard Towers stood on both sides of the strait. Ridiculous. A group of trash was wiped out by a dragon abomination. How do they train normally? In the 7-story steeple, a primordial soul wizard could not help but curse. He was the deputy tower master of Hurricane Steeple, the weather controller, Kuro. He was a peak 7-circle wizard. With his cultivation and state of mind, it was fine for him to lose some treasures. The problem was that as the deputy tower master, he had to consider the Hurricane Steeple's reputation. These guys were all equipped with 4th circle wizard tools and even 5th circle wizard tools. They had even started training decades before the ancient tower opened. They represented the highest standard of the Hurricane Steeple's younger generation. But now, they were easily killed by a level 4 dragon abomination. The dragon abomination had not reached the 5th realm. Otherwise, it would be taught a lesson by the order holder in the ancient tower for its frequent abuse of noobs. Not only had this failed battle embarrassed the Hurricane Steeple in the Endless Sea, but it had also embarrassed the wizard world and even the plane. Millions of living beings had seen it. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Kuro, you've disgraced the Storm School of Thought. Back then, you left the realm of Divine Wind and started a new business in the Endless Sea. Do you regret it now? A voice came from the communication wizard tool. The voice belonged to a 7-circle wizard from Hurricane Sky Island, one of the 3 giants of the realm of Divine Wind, the Heavenly Domain Wizard King. As the training hall of the Storm School of Thought, there were only 3 giant wizard organizations in the realm of Divine Wind. Hurricane Sky Island, Gale Steeple, Storm Divine Tower. The Hurricane Steeple was separated from the Hurricane Sky Island. As a result, Hurricane Sky Island was very dissatisfied with this. Both sides competed openly and secretly. When Kuro heard this, he took a deep breath and suppressed his anger. He smiled and said, at the very least, the son of Hurricane and the Prince of Airstream defeated the Amethyst race on the 5th level and obtained the Truth Oddity. Your Sky Island doesn't seem to have gained anything yet, right? Besides, this dragon abomination is extraordinary. If he goes to the 5th level, do you think your team can take him down? I don't think so, right? The Heavenly Domain Wizard King smiled and said, just wait and see. The show has just begun. At that time, let's see if your son of Hurricane is stronger or our Sky Dragon Wizard is stronger. Before the Heavenly Domain Wizard King could finish speaking, Kuro turned off his communication device and frowned. The Sky Dragon Wizard, Cyrus, is indeed troublesome. He had only recently found out about such a person. This was a hidden trump card of Hurricane Sky Island that had never been exposed before. Cyrus was a dragon descendant of the powerful pure-blooded dragon clan's Cloud Mist Dragon and a primordial soul witch from Hurricane Island. It was said that when the witch was traveling in the plain, she encountered an adult Cloud Mist Dragon. To swindle the bloodline of the Cloud Mist Dragon, the witch had put in a lot of effort to seduce him. In the end, she finally had sex with the Cloud Mist Dragon. No one knew how long she had tried and how many times she had squeezed the dragon dry before a dragon descendant was born. The funny thing was that the innocent young Cloud Mist Dragon fell in love with this witch and wanted to travel the world with her. The witch took advantage of his unpreparedness and escaped with her offspring. She returned to the wizard world and even got close to the island master of Sky Island, an 8th circle powerhouse, and became one of his wives. Later on, the child's father came to find her and was chased away by Sky Island. In the end, after scolding her as a bad woman, he was disheartened and left unwillingly. Cloud Mist Dragons were rare to begin with. If it couldn't reach adulthood successfully and advance to level 9, it probably wouldn't have a chance to take revenge. With the dragon clan's growth speed, when it reached level 9, the witch would most likely die of old age. Even its children might die of old age. This was the greatest regret in the world. After Cyrus was born, he displayed an extremely terrifying talent. Putting aside his pure-blooded dragon clan bloodline, he was also a wind element child. He also had a special talent, Wind Heart. It could be said that his buffs were maxed out. After Sky Island obtained it, it was as if they had obtained a supreme treasure and nurtured it even more vigorously. He was not even 150 years old but was already a 4th circle perfection 6 talent dragon descendant wizard. The worst thing was that this guy had a level 5 sub-dragon thunderstorm wolf dragon by his side. Although the Sky Dragon Wizard was not on the rankings, that was because he had yet to make a move. Otherwise, the 4th Circle Wizard, the Fire Dragon Destroyer, would lose his number 1 position. In the Dark Ancient Tower, the undercurrent was surging. No one knew how many more hidden trump cards like the Sky Dragon Wizard. On the 3rd floor of the Ancient Tower, Levi was at the other end of the canyon, stopping at a distance. There was a danger perception on his arm. Without a doubt, there was a level 5 existence in front of them. He carefully approached it again and realized it was a huge crab about 30 meters wide and 2 stories tall. What transcendent creature is this? Even Levi, who was experienced and knowledgeable, could not recognize it. Shell-type transcendent creatures usually live in the sea and are mostly water elemental creatures. However, this guy lives on land. It's strange. His strength should be at level 5, probably about the same as Madame Ghost. On the back of the giant crab, there were beetle-like wings. It could probably fly. Chapter 1159, Evil Dragon's Demonic Might. 4. A hurricane spewed from its mouth, and the wind elemental power around its body gathered and slowly merged into it. It was a wind-type giant beast. I should be able to fight it, but there's no need. This is its territory. Let it guard this place to prevent others from entering. Besides the giant beast, many transcendent creatures were submissive, including a few green-winged wind chaser birds and a large number of flying scythe beasts. Looks like Qing Niao's husband is here. I'll grab one when I leave. Levi silently retreated to the center of the canyon and returned to the flying scythe beast's tomb. Other than me, there should be other wizards coming in the next 3 years. I have to be prepared. Levi took out the Book of the Undead and chanted an incantation. The Headless Swordsman, the Vengeful Spirit Girl, the Scythe Demon Spirit, and a host of other evil spirits of various sizes appeared. Above the cemetery, ghosts wailed and wolves howled, with cold winds blowing as if they had come to hell. At this moment, the effects of the School of Undead Spirit became apparent. Hide in this canyon. If there are any intruders, inform me immediately. Levi waved his hand, and the undead spirits flew into the canyon. The Headless Swordsman and the Scythe Demon Spirit guarded the entrance. The other undead spirits were responsible for patrolling and keeping watch. Demon Blade, Phoenix, the 2 of you also guard the entrance. Kill anyone who trespasses. Blood Lady, Guillermo, stay in the canyon and help me find a material. As he spoke, a grain of greenish sand appeared in Levi's palm. This is called wind sand. There is also a similar type of sand that emits a silver light called mist sand. There is a small possibility of finding golden sand, known as void sand. If you find any of these sands, collect them all. By the way, avoid the eastern entrance of the canyon. There's a level 5 existence there, and you're no match for it. He said indifferently. The last type, void sand, was a grade 6 material coveted by even primordial soul wizards. It was a natural treasure used to refine soul artifacts, so he didn't hold out much hope. These 3 types of sands were all wind elemental ores, with similar functions but increasingly potent effects. Their formation conditions were increasingly stringent. Understood. Blood Lady and Guillermo immediately left to search for the sands. It's wonderful to have many subordinates. I don't need to do these chores myself. I can collect resources while cultivating. Levi was in a good mood. He took out the storage bags of the people he had just killed and began to inventory them. First, there were the 3 wizards he had just slain. They were all elites of the Hurricane Steeple, so he was confident they wouldn't disappoint him. After checking, Levi revealed a satisfied expression. The ether stones amounted to 400,000, and the 2 intact 4th circle wizard tools, wind rings, were only secondary. The most precious items were 600 pounds of wind sand, over 30 types of wind element herbs, and more than a dozen spell models that Levi did not have. Many of these were unique creations of the Hurricane Steeple. As for the potions and casting materials, there was no need to mention them. Not bad. Just these 600 pounds of wind sand are enough to make dozens of wind rings. When I return to the endless sea, whether I sell them or use them myself, it will be a huge profit. It must be said that in the dark ancient tower, it was the people from these large organizations who had the easiest time obtaining valuable items. Next, the relics of the daughter of Hurricane were the highlight. First was the fifth circle wizard tool, the Hurricane Ring. Although it was a standard wizard tool, it was worth at least 1,000,000 ether stones for a fifth circle item. I received it. Then, Levi opened the witch's storage ring. He didn't even count. With just a glance, he knew that this pile of ether stones should be around 300,000. Clatter, clatter. He was just too familiar with the sound. Putting away those ether stones, Levi sighed in his heart. Unknowingly, I have another 3,000,000 ether stones. I can't spend it here. I'll just save it. Maybe when I return from the ancient tower, I'll be a billionaire. Next, there were some middle-level storm faction spells that were rarely seen in the outside world, as well as some scattered fourth circle and third circle wizard tools. Levi accepted them all without hesitation. Finally, there was a box. Levi opened it, and the silver light blinded his eyes. He couldn't help but smile. Mist sand. This box must weigh about 5 pounds. Looks like this place does produce mist sand. I'll have Guillermo and the others work hard and try to dig up more than 100 pounds. Unlike most elemental metals, under normal circumstances, the higher the quality of wind elemental metal, the lower the weight. Of course, this did not mean it was not sturdy. On the contrary, most wind elemental metals were very tough to damage. After taking stock of his gains, Levi felt refreshed. The scythe breath quietly floated in the air of the cemetery, growing. Levi had already protected that area with a magic array to prevent it from being destroyed. Let's cultivate here. Levi was completely relaxed. He estimated that in 3 years, Anya and the others would have already gained a firm foothold on the 5th floor. At that time, my current breathing technique, Golden Snake, was already close to the late level 15. I estimated that I should be able to reach perfection within 3 years. Starting from level 13, which was the first transformation of the blood source, according to my calculations, there was a qualitative change every 2 levels. Levels 13 and 14 represented 3rd circle and senior 3rd circle wizards. Levels 15 and 16 represented 4th circle and senior 4th circle wizards. Only when one crossed a major realm did the breathing technique need an advancement potion, such as the stage from level 14 to level 15. Thus, if my guess was correct, after level 15, I could still advance to level 16 without any obstacles. Chapter 1160, Evil Dragon's Demonic Might. 5. Then, advancing from level 16 to 17 required an advancement potion. All of this needed Levi's verification. After the Golden Snake breathing technique reaches level 16, I'll need to find mixed blood dragon clans of level 4 or higher in the 4th level, which is the domain of water elements. I'll have to spend some time there to locate the ingredients for the secret medicine before proceeding to the 5th level to search for earth dragon clans. In the 1st level, the land of earth elements, he spent a year in the swamp picking saint fruits but encountered no mixed blood dragon clans. Thus, he could only pin his hopes on the 4th and 5th levels. Of course, the 3rd level, the land of wind elements, might also birth earth-type mixed blood dragon clans, though the probability was lower. Additionally, Levi's Crimson Emperor dragon breathing technique was nearing level 16. The Sky Dragon had only completed half of its journey, while the Scarlet Dragon, having recently broken through a few years ago, swiftly ascended with Night Fang's guidance, ensuring it would catch up soon. The Nightmare Dragon was still at the early stages of level 14, progressing like a turtle. Levi earned all its experience points by grinding in the Nightmare World. In the Ancient Tower, he could also connect to the Nightmare World. However, busy hunting treasures, he was online occasionally, checking his territory's status and looking out for intruders. He also urged the 9 infants and others to find the Nightmare Dragon clans. Finally, the Inferno Dragon breathing technique was soon to reach perfection at level 14. Meanwhile, his spiritual force in the path of wizardry was steadily rising. Estimated in about 20 years, he would be perfect and proceed to the 5th circle. After sorting out his plans for the next 3 years, Levi immediately began seclusion. Perhaps, he was an outlier in the dark ancient tower. Others were tirelessly climbing the tower, fighting for opportunities, or striving for fame, creating a bustling environment. Yet Levi followed the main group, picking up scraps without fighting or teaming up. For many, such a life lacked excitement and passion. But Levi found joy in it. Time passed swiftly. In the blink of an eye, several months went by. The scythe grew denser. Aside from its missing wings, it appeared no different from a normal flying scythe beast. When its wings fully grew, it would be time for Levi to depart. In the Giant Axe Canyon, over these months, there have been sporadic visits from nomadic wizards who were fourth circle wizards. Some retreated upon witnessing the exquisite arrays, realizing the difficulty involved. Given such arrangements, only two possibilities remained. First, a major organization of wizards had reserved the area. Outsiders were unwelcome. Second, there was a masterful array wizard who had set up an inescapable net in the canyon, claiming dominion. As a result, many informed nomadic wizards chose to leave. They knew it was not their place to meddle. Levi did not trouble them. He was not one to harm the innocent. However, some overly confident individuals attempted to break through the fourth circle array. Many of them were promptly struck down by the array. In the Book of Cipher, there were numerous high-quality fourth circle arrays. The fourth circle array he carried with him was far inferior to those in the Seven Kings of Hell. Nevertheless, dealing with these fourth circle wizards was still a walk in the park. Some of the stronger ones, or those in teams, managed to breach the canyon with great difficulty. Only to be surrounded and killed by undead spirits like the Headless Knight and the Scythe Demon Spirit. Neither the Demon Blade nor Phoenix had a chance to make an appearance. Reaching Levi's level was as difficult as scaling the heavens. Single-handedly, he turned the Giant Axe Canyon into a nightmare-level dungeon. Within this dungeon were arrays, traps, undead spirits, puppets, alchemical creatures, and transcendent creatures, where elite monsters lurked. Entering from the opposite end of the canyon was even more challenging. A boss-level giant green crab guarded the passage, wielding its large pincers to massacre anyone who dared approach. Occasionally, skilled infiltrators among the wizards or foreigners met their end at Levi's hands. He truly appreciated the comfort of having a reliable team. By relying on these sacrificial wizards and foreigners, Levi amassed a fortune in treasures, accumulating an ether stone reserve that grew to 4 million. Moreover, since it was the arrays and undead spirits doing the killing, Levi's presence remained concealed in the projections. The fleeting appearance of the demon sword dragon wizard had long faded from memory. This was a disappointment for the dragonfly wizard of the Central Realm. After reviewing the demon sword dragon wizard's dossier, he had high hopes for this individual. Soon, half a year had passed. In the 1167th year of the Holy Brilliance calendar, during the month of beginning. Year 3 of the Dark Ancient Tower calendar. Amid his training, Levi convened the 66th Round Table meeting. Even within the Ancient Tower, the Tea Time Round Table allowed normal communication with the outside world. Through this round table, he could observe projections from his team members and grasp the tower's situation. This was an advantage unmatched by other participants. Combining these projections with the intel he gathered within the tower, he had begun compiling a list of threatening individuals across the first 5 levels. The Flower Knight was absent from the meeting, preoccupied with conquering the checkpoint to the 7th level. Other than that, all 12 official members were in attendance. Upon seeing their long unseen commander, everyone warmly greeted him. "Commander, why haven't we seen your projection on the ancient tower?" the Halberd Knight chuckled. As an ardent follower of their commander, he eagerly anticipated witnessing his battles. "I had pressing matters to attend to, so I didn't engage in battle," Levi replied. Chapter 1161, Evil Dragon's Demonic Might. 6. Halberd Knight nodded. "I see. As long as you're okay, nothing else matters." Levi asked, "Has anything happened recently in the mortal realm? Are there invaders in our territory?" Blood Knight replied, "There are no major incidents in the mortal realm, and our territory remains safe. However, the Church of Holy Light has relocated, abandoning Peacock Capital. I secretly went to check, and it's now a forbidden zone for the Church. The Peacock Kingdom has renamed itself the Holy Brilliance Kingdom, indicating the Church's intention to directly govern the kingdom." Denise's body trembled with rage upon hearing this. Her expression cold, she said, "A capital city, millions of people, even members of the royal family, vanished without a trace. The Church hasn't explained anything. What's more terrifying is that other mortals in the country act as if nothing happened. Even thinking about it makes me uneasy." Since joining the Knights, she had minimal contact with her royal family. Her immediate relatives were no longer among the living. The disappearance of her family's capital deeply concerned her. Levi reassured her, good deeds will be rewarded, and evil deeds will meet their deserved consequences. Those responsible will face the consequences of their actions. He felt anger within him as well. However, after witnessing the church's power, he realized that while he could resist, overthrowing it was beyond his current capability. Furthermore, why should he step up when even the Lord of the wizard world refrained from doing so? Moreover, if the church were overthrown, who would govern the mortal realm? Wizards? The conditions of mortals under wizard rule were hardly better than under the church. This was the harsh reality. In any era or civilization, the strong rarely considered the plight of the weak. They merely evaluated their utility. To break free from this cycle, he needed strength and determination to shatter these constraints and escape the historical cycle. Having gathered insights into the mortal realm from his comrades, Levi concluded the meeting. At present, the knights operated smoothly without needing his direct intervention. Both the Midland Squad and the headquarters were progressing swiftly. Upon his return to the mortal realm, Level 1 knights would likely flourish, with Level 2 knights emerging in abundance. Only Level 3 knights would be qualified to participate in the round table meetings. Even without considering knights, the young wizards he had gathered over the years, along with those members who pursued dual wizard paths, could form a formidable wizard organization. Talented wizards like the Goddess Knight were already nearing the third circle of proficiency. With a composed demeanor, Levi continued his cultivation. He was indifferent to the turmoil within the ancient tower. 6 months later. Month of the Wheatfield. Levi's Inferno Dragon breathing technique had reached the pinnacle of level 14. To advance further, he needed either evolution or advancement. Evolution was not currently under consideration. For advancement, he required 2 crucial materials. One of the materials he needed was the level 4 bloodline essence of a fire-mixed blood dragon clan, for which he already had the crimson horned fire python prepared. The other requirement was the level 4 undying bird bloodline, which he had yet to secure. He released the crimson netherworld sparrow from the book of seals and half-jokingly, half-threateningly said, "Can you advance to level 4 within 5 years? If not, I'll stew you." The crimson netherworld sparrow trembled, nodding repeatedly. "You've lingered at the pinnacle of level 3 for too long. I've provided you with good food and drink. It's time for you to advance. Hurry up and don't slack off," Levi urged. The crimson netherworld sparrow hung its head, accepting the criticism. Having reached the pinnacle of the Inferno Dragon breathing technique, Levi now had one less main skill to cultivate. Next, he continued his wizardry training as usual. As for his path of knights, Levi focused on mastering the golden snake breathing technique for his final breakthrough. Simultaneously, during this period, the canyon grew increasingly peaceful. On one hand, the strong had all moved to the 4th level, leaving only a few scattered 4th circle nomadic wizards on the 3rd level. Without a team to lead them and with insufficient personal strength, they were compelled to remain there. On the other hand, the giant Axe Canyon had gradually become a forbidden zone for these nomadic wizards. Legend had it that a wizard from the School of Death, skilled in the intricacies of magic circles and suspected to be of 5th circle level, controlled the giant Axe Canyon. He relied on a legion of undead spirits and corpse demons to monopolize its resources. Anyone entering the canyon faced brutal death, transformed into an undead spirit, and enslaved. However, beyond the giant Axe Canyon, the 3rd level abounded with numerous resource points, ensuring these wizards were not entirely empty-handed. Time flew by. With the blink of an eye, another year had passed. The year 1168 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, month of harvest. Year 4 of the Dark Ancient Tower calendar. During the 67th round table meeting, Levi learned through the projection that Anya had joined the main force of the witch's family and entered the 5th level of the ancient tower. Triss had tasked him with covertly protecting Anya, but he had sprinted ahead too fast for Levi to keep up. From Anya's battle, Levi observed that he had already advanced to become a senior 4th circle wizard and had mastered 2 innate defensive spells. Levi wholeheartedly approved of this development. Of course, the witch's family had left a contingent behind to guard the 4th level and search for resources. The 4th level resembled an endless sea, a water world that served as the home turf of the ocean school of thought. They thrived like fish in the water there. While browsing the projections, Levi recognized many familiar faces. Jacob and 100 Flowers on the 6th level. The Blue Dragon Lady on the 5th level, accompanied by a red-haired witch, Wildbone Wizard, Farah, Redbone Wizard, Fire Crocodile City Master, Ice Phoenix Ferlin, and the esteemed Tower Master Salmon. Levi even caught sight of a black and white a panda person engaged in battle with a one-armed amethyst race powerhouse. Is that Kung Fu Panda Abeo? Wait, isn't that one-armed man from the amethyst race who ambushed me? Didn't expect him to lose an arm. He, once I reach the 5th circle, I won't let him off easy. Witnessing his adversary's setback, Levi felt a surge of satisfaction and resumed his cultivation. By this time next year, the scythe breath would emerge, and Levi could finally leave this place. 1 month later, at the teleportation portal exit on the 3rd level, 2 purple figures materialized. Damn it, didn't we just slaughter some rookie wizards on the 1st floor? Why did the Earth Elemental Guard confine us, and for a whole 3 years? I seriously suspect the Order Keeper favors the wizard faction. I reckon our peak level rank 4 strength shouldn't have been on the 1st floor. But this time on the 3rd level, we shouldn't face any punishment. True. Well then. Happy hunting. Hurry up, I still aim to earn the title of 100 Shaman / Chapter 1162, Level 16. 1. Dark Ancient Tower. 3rd level. Windless Valley Market. There was no market in this world. As more people came, one came into being. The Windless Valley used to be a resource point. The valley was filled with herbs and precious plants. By the time wizards and other races arrived, it had already been picked clean. Of course, this wasn't a problem for the ancient tower. Because once it opened this time, no one would be able to enter for another 10,000 years, which was enough time for it to restore ecological balance. Perhaps the creator of the ancient tower had considered this point when setting the opening time to once every 10,000 years. Dozens of 4th circle wizards settled here in this market. These people maintained a delicate balance. Everyone used the resources they didn't need to trade with others, bartering and exchanging goods. These people no longer had any hope of entering the 4th level, nor did they have a way to return below. So they decided to establish a fragile place of order and wait for the ancient tower to send them home. There was a constant flow of stalls and hawkers here. 5 level 4 wind rolling grass for an equivalent fire medicinal herb. Those serious, come forth, and no ether stones. Trading level 3 magnetic fire ore for equivalent level water element ore. If you have, we can meet in a small grove. I'm a seasoned 4th circle senior, so let's carefully consider any cunning moves. Illidan team seeks an array wizard to explore Raging Wind Canyon. The team already has a 4th circle wizard with 5 talents. Spoils will be fair, no non-array wizards. Just a 4th circle senior leading to explore the Raging Wind Canyon? Are you thinking the sealed level 5 Night Devil doesn't exist? Truly fearless, my Windrunner team will venture into Giant Axe Canyon in 3 days to vanquish the wicked Death Wizard Bone King inside. All 4th circle seniors are welcome, any profession. Our leader is the Bulk Elf Witch, Hill. Tisk, just a 4th circle senior witch with half-elf bloodline? Thought she was tough. Regarding danger, Giant Axe Canyon ranks top in the 3rd level. Those who venture in never return. Better save your breath, you lot. Yet, besides the mysterious Death Wizard inside, Giant Axe Canyon also houses a level 5 Canyon Swiftwind Crab. Invulnerable, mighty, and blazingly fast. I've seen it easily crush a senior 4th circle wizard. In the market, endless debates raged. In a quiet corner, a wizard sat alone with a glass of spirits beside him. He sported a head of snow-white hair, a weathered face, and eyes clouded with age. Beneath the wrinkles, one could faintly discern the handsome and rebellious visage of his youth. His name was Friar, an obscure wizard from the Frost School. He was fortunate enough to acquire a key. Then, he ventured into the ancient tower, yet found no treasures to prolong his life or advance his realm. He could feel life slipping away. He was nearing death. Hey, Friar, what's troubling you? A middle-aged witch appeared. How long have we known each other, Heidi? Friar asked. Let me think, it's been over 300 years. Why ask now? Heidi asked. Old age makes one nostalgic. Without you, I'd never have become a wizard, Friar reminisced. Heidi sat down, recalling fondly, indeed, you were once spirited, dashing, brave, and cunning. Countless noble women were smitten with you. Even I, as an official wizard, was captivated. That's why we shared that passionate night. But don't dwell on it. I only guided you into the wizard world out of duty. Besides the unattainable Mr. Truth, I'll never marry another man. Truth is eternal, Friar sighed. After parting from the human realm, I thought we'd never meet again, Heidi reflected emotionally. I'm in the endless sea, and you're in the ice realm. Yet here we are, reunited with the opening of the ancient tower. Fate works in mysterious ways. When you left the human realm, you were but middle-aged. In just over 300 years, you've become a fourth circle wizard with a triple affinity. Such progress is astounding. Friar looked skyward, whispering, everyone encounters opportunities. My achievements today were hard-earned. Heidi, could you do me a favor? Heidi hesitated. Friar sighed, handing his storage bag to Heidi. I'm dying, possibly today or tomorrow. Please take my remains back to the human realm, to the tulip plains in the Emerald Kingdom, behind the Sharon family castle. There's a cherry blossom tree I planted before leaving home. Bury my bones, sword, and armor together. Everything in the bag is yours, including the Necromancer's Codex, a technique I stumbled upon. I advise against practicing it, though the choice is yours. Why? Heidi asked. A fourth circle wizard should live 600 or 700 years, but I've only lived half that, and now I wither, Fred said wryly. Why do you think? Chapter 1163, Level 16. 2. Upon hearing this, Heidi was startled. She sighed and said, such a forbidden technique. No wonder you progressed so quickly. In this world, everything operates on equivalent exchange. Every gift from fate has already been secretly priced. Oh, and Fred, I forgot to mention, there's no longer an Emerald Kingdom in the human realm. It's now the Peacock Kingdom. I'm not sure if your family's castle is still standing. Friar. Heidi glanced at the elderly man resting against the wall. He had passed away, looking peaceful. She gently closed his eyes and placed his body into his storage bags. Rest well. She returned to the makeshift shelter carved into the cliff and set up the array. Her expression hesitated, conflicted. Eventually, she opened Freya's storage bags and retrieved a yellowed black ancient tome. The musty, decaying smell wafted out. The Necromancer's Codex. She murmured to herself as she flipped through the forbidden technique Friar had warned her against cultivating. 1 month later, Heidi put away the black book. I'm sorry, Fred. I couldn't resist delving into its teachings. Despite being forbidden, it significantly boosts my strength. I need to ensure my survival before returning safely to the human realm. Yes, she couldn't resist studying its techniques. It was a forbidden technique that sacrificed life force and longevity to swiftly elevate one's power. As long as I avoid life-threatening situations, I won't resort to this technique again. It'll be fine, she reassured herself. Several days later, Heidi joined Illidan's team and returned triumphant. Their exploration of Raging Wind Canyon yielded rich rewards. Meanwhile, the Windrunner team ventured into Giant Axe Canyon and was annihilated, none survived. The infamous Death Wizard Bone King's name once again struck fear into every wizard's heart. From then on, no wizard dared to venture into Giant Axe Canyon. Heidi's face flushed with excitement and emotion. In her hand appeared a black heart. A level 5 night demon's heart. Haha, this is the ingredient for refining the night demon's eternal darkness elixir. With this, advancing to the 5th circle is within reach. Illidan's team stumbled upon a forbidden area in Raging Wind Canyon, awakening a sealed level 5 night demon. This night demon had supposedly been sealed here by ancient magi for millennia. After countless millennia, its power had waned, and it was far less formidable than rumored. Their team joined forces and killed it. She was forced to use the 9 death secret technique recorded in the Necromancer's Codex, which consumed 100 years of her life force. Temporarily gaining the perfected strength of the 4th circle, she killed the night demon, astonishing everyone and obtaining the precious heart of the night demon. Now, she is even honored by her team members as Lord Heidi. With this treasure, my journey to the ancient tower is complete. Now, I'll find a safe place and lie low until the tower closes, fulfilling my promise to Friar upon returning to the human realm. Then, I'll await my advancement to the 5th circle. I must resist using the 9 death secret technique further, my remaining lifespan may not suffice for reaching the 5th circle. She sealed the Necromancer's Codex in a box and placed it in her storage bags. In the following days, she procured the necessary materials for her future cultivation at the market, then dismantled the shelter in preparation to depart. As she stepped out, 2 streaks of purple light suddenly streaked across the sky. Hey, hey, so many wizards here, a member of the amethyst race named Bangu chuckled. This should be interesting, another amethyst race member named Yagu added. Bangu and Yagu had been imprisoned for 3 years by the Order Keeper for causing a fish pond explosion. For other wizards, this was an opportunity missed. However, they were unconcerned. As members of the amethyst race, they had little interest in most of the resources here. They only cared about devouring rare metal ores and hunting down wizards. After being enslaved by wizards for so long, they were filled with anger and had no outlet. Outside, there were many wizards, and over a dozen legendary wizards guarded them. They didn't dare to act rashly. However, in the ancient tower, they were fearless. Their arrival naturally attracted the attention of the wizards below. This is a gathering of wizards. Leave now, or we can each cast a spell to kill you, a wizard warned. That's right, another agreed. Bangu and Yagu were undaunted. They opened their mouths and expelled a heap of storage bags, scattering them across the market. The 2 amethyst giants charged into the group of wizards. Various fourth circle spells bombarded them. Put more effort into it. Are trying to tickle us. Boom. In an instant, Bangu teleported in front of a fourth circle wizard. His purple fist shattered the wizard's force field, exploding his heart into a blood fog. Meanwhile, Yagu descended from the sky, creating a 100-meter wide crater in the market. Ha ha ha, satisfying. Suddenly, a massive wave engulfed Yagu. Don't grab things first. Deal with the enemies first before running away. There are so many of us, what are we afraid of? Heidi watched the chaotic scene among the wizards in disbelief. Their numbers were 20 times greater than those of the wizards below. Even with 2 fifth circle cultivators among them, they could hold their ground for a while. But what were these people up to? After grabbing most of the storage bags, most of the wizards immediately activated their abilities and fled the market. Some were resisting, but they didn't seem to be using their full strength. They were just slacking. Chapter 1164, Level 16. 3. She found it absurd. These were wizards who had once conquered entire plains. How could they be routed so easily? Nevertheless, many wizards chose to join Heidi in attacking the 2 powerful amethyst race experts. The situation reached a stalemate for a moment. The 2 amethyst brothers were formidable. As the strongest individuals of their race, each could rival a fourth circle wizard in prowess. Yet, there were still around 20 wizards present, enough to keep them at bay. Their bodies were invincible, and their speed was unmatched. Otherwise, they would have been slain long ago. Everyone, strike with all your might to end this threat. Heidi urged. Bangu and Yagu were undeterred. They charged recklessly. They already killed several wizards. One wizard, seeing the powerful amethyst brothers, considered retreat. Shouldn't we retreat? The amethyst race's resistance to spells is too high. Our attacks are less effective than those of body-refining wizards. No, we'll all perish if we retreat, someone countered. Suddenly, a cry of surprise rippled through the crowd. From the horizon, 2 more purple lights drew near. Kagu, Faku. Bangu and Yagu exclaimed with delight. Hat, 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 I didn't expect so many little bugs here. Good thing I didn't enter the 4th level. This time, let us 4 brothers enjoy the slaughter, the Amethyst brothers said. The Amethyst race knew no divisions of race, clan, or gender. They all emerged from the stone and revered the Amethyst Saint as their leader. Therefore, within their realm, all Amethyst race members addressed each other as brothers. With their arrival, the tide of battle swiftly turned in favor of the Amethyst race. Charge! The 4 Amethyst brothers tore through the wizards like wolves among sheep. They possessed no spells, only invincible bodies and physical techniques crafted by the Amethyst Saint, known as sacred skills. In an instant, the wizards' defenses crumbled, and they scattered in panic. 4 peak-level Amethyst race experts at level 4. Even an average 5th circle wizard wouldn't dare to face them head-on. Retreat! There's no point in senseless sacrifices. Run! Chaos ensued. The 4 Amethyst brothers laughed heartily, reveling in their ruthless slaughter. Heidi's face turned pale. Gritting her teeth, she too fled. A purple fist descended upon her. Heidi's force field blazed brightly, her wizard tools spinning around her. Crack! The wizard tool and the force field shattered into pieces. Heidi transformed into a wave, narrowly escaping the attack. Her face turned pale as she regrouped in the distance. Relying on elementalization, she avoided fatal damage but still sustained serious injuries. Interesting. You managed to escape, Yagu sneered. His figure vanished, reappearing as a purple light. A straightforward punch tore through the earth. Heidi dodged frantically. She tried to flee, only to find another Amethyst race member blocking her path. Weren't you brave just now? Why run? Bangu chuckled. Seeing this scene, Heidi took a deep breath. She closed her eyes and then smiled bitterly. Come on, foreigners. Around her, 3 black gates suddenly materialized, exuding an ancient aura of death. Behind the gates, 3 figures rode skeletal war horses. Their faces were obscured, and these figures were tall and sturdy, each with a distinct appearance. They wore royal robes, cloaks, crowns, and wielded long swords. She invoked the 9 Deaths secret technique and opened the gates of 3 deaths. The 3 kings thrust their swords into Heidi's body. Heidi's entire life force and lifespan were drained away. Complex runes appeared around Heidi. Everyone present could sense their significance. Heidi Mayer, aged 300, opens 3 gates as an offering to the king of the underworld. Boom! Her aura surged, and her spiritual force and spell power skyrocketed. In a flash, she advanced from 4th circle senior to perfect 4 circle, breaking through a major realm, and her spiritual force only ceased when it exceeded 500 points. All of this unfolded in an instant. The 4 Amethyst brothers wore solemn expressions. Come on! Foreigners! Boom! The waves surged into the sky, engulfing all 4 members of the Amethyst race. This was Heidi's innate spell, and after reaching the 5th circle, its power rivaled that of a 5th circle wizard. Interesting. But unfortunately, you're still weak. Even at its peak, an ant remains an ant. Yaku roared. The 4 brothers each unleashed a punch, their fist winds merging into one. Saint skill, sky's might. Rumble. It was also a 5th circle level attack, slightly more potent than Heidi's. Crack. The force of a single blow. Heidi's protective force field shattered. In contrast, though the 4 brothers' bodies were also shattered, they acted as if nothing had happened. They withdrew rare level 4 elemental metals, consumed them eagerly, and their wounds healed. I only have the power for 1 strike. This is the 5th circle power I've long dreamed of, yet still not their equal. I'm sorry, Friar. I must break my promise. Heidi transformed from a middle-aged beauty into a withered flower, devoid of vitality. A mummified figure in wizard robes sat on the ground, staring into the distance. War horses neighed as the shadows of the 3 kings silently vanished beyond the 3 gates. The 4 Amethyst brothers dared not move. Those 3 were projections of beings beyond their comprehension. Perhaps only the Amethyst Saint could command such attention from them. Gathering the wizard spoils scattered around, the 4 brothers devoured them. They then seized a fleeing wizard and demanded, where else are there gathering places on the 3rd level? This young wizard knew his end was near. He was afraid of death, so he wouldn't betray the other rogue wizard. He would die anyway, so he might as well trick these foreigners once. Chapter 1165, Level 16. 4. He had a sudden realization. It was about the first of the 10 major forbidden areas on the 3rd level, where the sinister death wizard ruled in Giant Axe Canyon. Trembling, he stammered, "Please don't kill me. I'll tell you. In Giant Axe Canyon, there's a gathering place of wizards with over 100 of them." Bang! His head exploded into a blood fog. "Let's go to Giant Axe Canyon. This is exhilarating. Looks like with our strength, we won't need to worry about alerting the Order Keepers if we strike after the 3rd level. Ha ha ha. There's even a corpse in this witch's storage bags. Snowflake Knight? Yaku, have you heard of knights? Are they strong? I think it's a profession among Nora mortals. We could wipe out 10,000 of them in one breath." Nora. Central Realm. Dragonfly Wizard gazed sadly at the brutal battle unfolding, his heart heavy. Perhaps the wizard civilization needs to learn something from the Amethyst civilization. If everyone unites, there might be a way to defeat those 4 Amethyst race members. Sigh. However, why has a taboo like the Necromancer's Codex resurfaced? There are no shortcuts in this world. Staying grounded is the true path. The Necromancer's Codex wasn't such a great secret. Some foreign races across the Pan Plane have also mastered it. The issue was, that they were damned long-lived species, with lifespans several times that of wizards. Moreover, even long-lived species dared not use the necromancer's codex frequently. Their lives couldn't withstand the depletion. Wizards were short-lived beings. Using such a forbidden technique was inviting death. In the year 1168 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, during the month of the Northern Wind, Giant Axe Canyon. The giant green crab lazily absorbed wind elemental power amidst the raging wind disaster, diligently persevering. Beside it, the green-winged wind chaser bird and the flying scythe beast kept watch. The giant green crab provided shelter for these little creatures, forming a symbiotic relationship. In the graveyard of the flying scythe beast's graveyard, Levi practiced the golden snake breathing technique tirelessly. Suddenly, golden strength surged around him, permeating the air before all of it was absorbed into his body. Simultaneously, his body crackled with noises as his already large dragon abomination physique expanded further. Standing tall, he tapped the black scales on his arms, making them denser and more robust. Around him, a layer of scales shimmered. This makes it the fourth shedding. He neatly folded the shed scales and placed them in his dedicated safe for skin shedding. These are all witnesses to my journey of effort and growth. If I become a plain expert in the future, they will be priceless artifacts. With Levi's fourth shedding, his golden snake breathing technique advanced to level 16. Levi. Golden snake breathing technique, fourth transformation of the blood source level 16, 1/800,000. Special effects, transformation scales, level 4, dragon's intimidation, golden snake playing with water. Bloodline Dharma idol, golden snake dance. Exclusive weapon, golden dragon heavenly shield, level 3. It was much like Levi's analysis. The golden snake breathing technique advanced from level 15 to 16 without needing an advancement potion, a direct promotion. Of course, this meant it wasn't a qualitative change, but a significant quantitative one. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Once the new scales had fully solidified and set. According to Levi's assessment, the level 4 transformation scales boasted twice the defensive capability of their level 3 counterparts. Similarly, his strength, constitution, endurance, and other dimensional attributes had all seen varying degrees of improvement. It could be said that compared to defense, these gains were relatively minor. The path of the knight primarily focused on the breakthrough of the golden snake. The path of the wizard, Levi's spiritual force had already reached 380 points, steadily approaching perfection. Levi stretched lazily and emerged from his seclusion. I've been holed up here for over 2 years. By now, my reputation must have spread throughout the third level. It doesn't matter anymore. After all, I am the dragon abomination. Stepping out, Levi inspected the oddities. The scythe breath had begun forming wings and was nearly complete. It seemed another 6 months would do. The transcendent creatures rested in the forest. Levi glanced at the crimson netherworld sparrow. It was ostentatiously engrossed in its training. If this fellow advances to the fourth circle, I'll be able to cultivate the Inferno Dragon breathing technique up to level 15. Before long, Guillermo and Blood Lady arrived. Master, these are the ores we've excavated. Levi stored them away and inspected them. Good 600 pounds of wind sand and 5 pounds of mist sand. Keep at it, don't slack off. Understood. The 2 corpse demons diligently returned to mining. Too bad. It seems there's no void sand here. I was getting my hopes up. If there were void sand, those primordial soul wizards would have dug it up long ago. As for the mist sand now, it's enough to refine the wind thunder wings. Levi wasted no time. He immediately used his Crimson Emperor Dragon Flames to refine the mist sand. Compared to other materials, refining sandstones was straightforward. A month later, Levi successfully refined the new version of the Wind Thunder Wings. I used Wind Thunder Meteorite Iron and Mist Sand, 2 rare materials. Judging from the materials alone, this should be my most powerful divine weapon. Levi flicked his finger, unleashing a wind thunder feather imbued with the force of a thunderous tempest that cleaved through the rock wall ahead. Rumble. The wall slowly crumbled. Very impressive. Levi was satisfied. He reabsorbed the divine weapon into his body. The 5 divine weapons floated within him. After extensive nurturing, they seemed even more extraordinary. To Levi, these divine weapons were far superior to wizard tools. Chapter 1166, Level 16. 5. Unfortunately, I'm still missing a level 5 fire element metal. Otherwise, I could have reforged the Crimson Dragon Slash. This divine weapon is struggling to keep up with the progress of the breathing technique. As for the other divine weapons falling behind in progress, it's manageable, but the Crimson Dragon Slash is my primary weapon for output, and it needs to be upgraded soon. After leaving seclusion, Levi surveyed the canyon and found everything to be normal. With those flying scythe beasts acting as scouts, that giant green crab should have spotted me long ago. I've been here for 2 years, and it hasn't disturbed me yet. It's quite astute. The giant green crab might seem clumsy, but it's very intelligent. It knows Levi isn't someone to be trifled with. Soon, Levi resumed his cultivation. 3 days later, he opened his eyes and looked at the hairs standing on end. These dangerous fluctuations had been going on for some time. Initially, he thought they were ordinary, but over the past 2 days, they had intensified. Something might happen in the canyon. Deciding not to seclude himself anymore, Levi went to the entrance of the canyon. Have there been any suspicious individuals recently? Levi asked. The headless swordsman and the scythe demon spirit shook their heads. Levi frowned. You two go guard the flying scythe beast's graveyard. I'll stay here to watch. After commanding the undead spirits to fly into the central canyon, along with the demon blade and phoenix, Levi remained alone to guard the entrance. Judging from the dangerous fluctuations, the intruder wasn't very powerful, likely just an ordinary fifth circle. Levi was more than capable of handling them. The other side has the giant green crab. That should be fine. The next day, 4 purple figures gazed at the giant axe canyon. Kagu, Feigu, you two head to the other end of the canyon. If there are many enemies, remember not to engage directly. Just kill a few and retreat. Survival is our priority. Understood. The Amethyst Race brothers split into 2 groups and surrounded the canyon. In the giant axe canyon, a windstorm raged, sending sand and stones flying. Bangu and Yagu arrived. Why does it feel like there's no one here? Could it be that the wizard is deceiving us? Yagu asked. I'm not sure. Let's go in and take a look. I smell the scent of food. There should be delicious ores in this canyon. Even without a wizard, it's still a treasure trove for us, Bangu said, licking his lips. They flew directly into the canyon, and soon, beams of light shot up into the sky. What's this? I'm not sure, but it seems to be a wizard's array. It appears there are indeed wizards here. Our trip wasn't in vain. The 2 Amethyst Race experts remained calm. Let me go. Yagu sneered, eyeing the array that had ensnared him like an enraged bull. Boom! He threw a punch, and the fist wind collided with the array. The array shook uncontrollably. It can withstand a punch from me. Not bad. It's stronger than those wizards in the market, Yagu remarked. Let's go together. Bangu and Yagu simultaneously launched their fists. Sacred skill, sky's might. Boom! The devastating fist winds tore through the ground. The array held for a moment before being shredded. Hidden in the canyon, Levi observed the broken array. Indeed, the Amethyst Race lives up to its reputation. No frills, just sheer force that breaks through any barrier, he thought. He had set up the array not to ensnare the enemy but purely to gauge their strength. A 4th circle senior wizard would struggle to break such an array. These fellows are tougher than those prodigies. But fortunately, 2 Amethyst Race members are more than enough to handle them. Escape was out of the question. If they could escape from Levi, they couldn't escape the truth oddity. Then let's fight, sigh. With a surge of killing intent, Levi's figure flickered as he descended towards the 2 below. After Bangu and Yagu shattered the array, they maneuvered through the canyon. Suddenly, Yagu threw a punch at the adjacent rock wall. The invisible fist wind carved a deep hole in the rock, revealing flickers of green light. Delicious! Yagu smiled. He opened his mouth, resembling a black hole, and green sand and rock fragments were drawn into his body automatically. The ores were swiftly digested, assimilating into a warm green current that flowed through him, integrating into his purple-hued physique. Suddenly, Bangu halted. His fists collided with a resounding clash. Purple light erupted from his body, encompassing a several-kilometer radius with him at the epicenter. There's someone. Bangu's head spun 180 degrees as he looked behind him. Simultaneously, his purple fist slammed into the void. Ripples spread through the air as a demonic dragon claw covered in menacing black scales lunged towards them. The pitch-black dragon claw and the purple fist collided. The scales on the dragon claw shattered, while the purple fist showed cracks. Dragon abomination? You're asking for death. Bangu sneered. Dragon abominations? He had slain more than one. Suddenly, his expression shifted. Before him, red and black flames entwined and spun, coalescing into a fist-sized sphere. Twin dragons playing with pearls. Spiral explosion. Boom. The mushroom cloud briefly displaced the hurricane, creating a vacuum. From above, it seemed as though a black flower of death had bloomed in the Grand Canyon. Two figures, riddled with cracks, emerged from the explosion. Cough, cough. Yagu, this dragon abomination is no simple. Bangu clenched his fists. The visible cracks on his body were healing rapidly. Yagu's headless body stood proudly. He picked up his head and reattached it. Fascinating. My crystal soul is about to ignite. Ha 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 ha. After the terrifying explosion comparable to that of a fifth circle beast, these two peak-level experts of the amethyst race at level 4 were surprisingly still chatting and laughing. Above in the sky, the pitch-black dragon abomination's demonic claws had already regenerated. Chapter 1167, Level 16. 6. Levi clenched his fist, black flames blazing. His body filled with boiling battle intent. I never expected to encounter such perfect creatures. I've been idling in the ancient tower for 3 years. Finally, I can stretch my muscles, he said. Then, he took a deep breath and accelerated suddenly, descending. Bangu and Yagu looked at the dark silhouette in the sky and simultaneously threw a punch. Sacred skill, Amethyst Serpent. The fist wind formed a 100-foot-long purple serpent, soaring into the sky. In mid-air, the dragon abomination laughed madly, its dragon claw piercing into the purple serpent. Split. Crack. Sparks flew, and metal clashed. The purple serpent was split in half and dissipated into nothingness. The demonic dragon claw stomped down. Rumble. The earth collapsed under tremendous force. The two amethyst race experts were like stakes driven into the ground. At the same time, another twin dragons playing with pearls was displayed. The mushroom cloud bloomed for the second time. Levi didn't relax. His figure flashed to the side. A purple fist slammed into where he had originally landed, tearing through the hurricane ahead. Quite a fast reaction speed, Yagu remarked. Below, the ground cracked open, and a streak of purple light rushed towards Levi. A golden shield appeared. Bangu's head struck the shield and rebounded. The shield wailed and vanished into Levi's body. So far, all the body refining wizards Levi had encountered paled in comparison to these two amethyst ray sea experts. His black scale layered, bones cracking. Come again. He faced the two alone. One black, two purple, they turned into streaks of light and intertwined endlessly in the canyon. Thus far, he hadn't tapped into his innate spells. He relied purely on his nightly methods to confront the enemy. The booming continued. Countless flying scythe beasts fled in the face of the shockwave, shattering canyon walls on both sides. In some places, even a green light appeared. However, both sides were truly furious and no longer held back. At the same time, in the ancient Saint Plain, knights watched this physical battle, their blood boiling. These experts are truly too strong. With a mere movement, they can split mountains and shake ancient times. Can we become this strong in the future? A young knight asked. Dinos patted his shoulder. If you work hard enough to reach the commander's level, you can handle situations like this. Endless Sea, Ocean Abyss Alliance. A young, handsome bald wizard watched the battle unfold, unable to resist applauding. Now this is an exhilarating battle. It's a pity I'm about to advance to the 6th Circle Body Refinement Realm and can't join the Dark Ancient Tower. That noble from the Sea Clan better not embarrass us body refining wizards. Giant Axe Canyon. Apart from Levi's battlefield, another equally intense battle raged. A giant green crab rampaged through the canyon, locked in combat with two amethyst race experts. Its normally impervious green shell sported fine cracks, a truly baffling sight. The formidable physical prowess of the amethyst race was on full display. However, as a powerful exotic creature at level 5, it currently held the upper hand. The amethyst race experts were also adorned with purple cracks, emitting a faint glow. Let's retreat to the other side and regroup with Bangu and the others. Together, we can take down this crab. Even if we succeed, the cost will be high and hardly worth the gain. Fei Gu and Ka Gu fought defensively, leading the giant green crab toward Levi's battlefield. The two scenes of terrifying conflict continued to converge relentlessly in the middle of the canyon. Finally, at the heart of the canyon, Fei Gu encountered Yagu and the others, who were currently entangled with a dragon abomination. What's going on? You two can't handle a mere dragon abomination. Fei Gu frowned. This dragon abomination is no ordinary foe. By the way, how did you manage to lure a level 5 being here? Ban Gu roared. It's all Ka Gu's fault. The crab was asleep, and yet he managed to punch it, Fei Gu complained. It's not my fault. Ka Gu quickly defended himself. Levi's expression remained unchanged upon noticing the additional 2 experts of the amethyst race. He still had plenty of tricks up his sleeve. As long as they weren't level 5 experts of the amethyst race, he wasn't concerned. The giant green crab, provoked by the 2 amethyst race experts, manifested miniature dragon tornadoes on its body, merging them into the canyon. In an instant, a colossal dragon tornado shot skyward, engulfing Fei Gu and Ka Gu. The clash of giant claws and fists caused the amethyst race experts to scream in agony. Ka Gu, I'll keep this giant green crab occupied. You go help them take down the dragon abomination. After that, the 4 of us will join forces to finish off the crab. Got it. The somewhat simple-minded Ka Gu rushed over to join the fray against Levi. Levi now faced a 3-on-1 situation, doubling the pressure. With my current mastery of the breathing technique, facing 2 peak level 4 amethyst race experts is already pushing my limits. Killing them will be incredibly tough. Even the twin dragons playing with pearls wouldn't be enough to finish them off. With this thought, Levi's sea-swallowing whale took a deep breath. He burst out of the encirclement of the amethyst race, ascended into the clouds, and then clashed fists. All his blood chi was infused with black flames, forming behind him the phantom of a 3-headed, 6-armed black flame giant. 6 heavenly gods. The colossal divine weapon, towering 20 stories high, appeared like a heavenly omen. The amethyst race experts appeared minuscule before him. The 3 of them gasped in shock. What kind of technique is this? Is this a dragon abomination? The 6 heavenly gods turned their gaze toward the amethyst race experts. Fierce, calm, and compassionate. The indestructible armor transformed into black scales that covered the entirety of the 6 heavenly gods' body. A scarlet shadow danced around him like armillary sash. 3,000 wind thunder feathers unfurled from his back, shrouding the sky. Chapter 1168, Level 16. 7. The golden shield stood tall, protecting him. All 6 arms gripped the black flame demonic sword. Annihilation. A river of black sword chi descended, flying straight down 3,000 feet. Mighty and majestic, the sword chi radiated brilliance. With a single stroke, the world trembled. Sacred skill, sky's might. The 3 amethyst race experts launched their most powerful attacks with the utmost seriousness. Though it was a battle of level 4, it felt like a clash of level 5 opponents. The earth-shattering collision caused rocks on both sides of the canyon to continuously crumble, widening the gap. Long swords clashed incessantly with the fists of the amethyst race experts. Levi sat atop the clouds, watching as the 6 heavenly gods fought with the trio. Ban Gu's expression twisted with madness. Do you think you can defeat us like this? You underestimate the amethyst race. Yagu, Ka Gu, lend me your strength. Yagu and Ka Gu transformed into purple light, merging into Yagu's body. Ban Gu's aura surged once more. His body expanded to the height of 10 stories. Purple light enveloped his fists, exuding an overwhelming presence. Sacred skill, solar eclipse. Ban Gu unleashed their most formidable strike. This attack had even grievously wounded a level 5 expert. The fist wind sent the shield flying and collided with the long sword of the 6 heavenly gods. Crack! The sword showed signs of cracking. Levi's expression shifted slightly as he swiftly retracted his long sword. The 6 heavenly gods' 6 palms encircled him, while pitch-black scales of the demon armor shielded his body. Boom! The 6 heavenly gods were forcefully hurled into the sky, disappearing without a trace. Subsequently, the fist wind shattered the high-altitude clouds, creating the appearance of a massive hole in the sky. Phew! See this? This is the amethyst race's power. We're unstoppable! Ban Gu bellowed with laughter. The giant green crab continued to rampage, eyeing the terrifying power of this attack with lingering fear. It sensed the imminent threat of death. In the sunset plain, amidst the endless sea and the central realm, entities intrigued by this battle held their breath, fixated on the projection. Though unrelated to wizards, such a rare style of combat was incredibly captivating, sending chills down their spines. High above in the sky, Levi's golden dragon eyes stared down at the defiant Bangu. He raised his hand, pointing to the heavens before pressing downward. In that instant, darkness fell. Nightmare descent, with no holds barred. At an exceedingly high altitude, within the wind disaster stratum, the three-headed, six-armed pitch-black giant descended swiftly. Friction between the wind calamity and its black scales sparked flames that illuminated the heart of the heavens. The giant's three heads had transformed into those of giant dragons. Dragon horns forked atop its head, black manes billowing from its neck, dancing in the wind. Its descent saw it swell larger and larger until it towered 30 stories high, 100 meters tall. 3,000 feather blades cleaved through the air ahead, unleashing winds and thunder. A scarlet cloak trailed behind, shrouding the sky. Its velocity increased with each passing moment. Bangu gazed at the rapid flame breaking through the darkness, his eyes filled not only with disbelief but also with unparalleled fanaticism, rare admiration and soaring combat intent. Sacred skill, star devour. All his strength surged within his purple form. Kagu and Yagu were now completely consumed by Bangu. They had transformed into his strength, all to confront this onslaught. The invincible clan. Following this mighty blow, Bangu began to shrink. He resembled a dying star collapsing in on itself. A black hole fist wind blasted out, sucking in everything around, earth, stones, and wind disasters, merging into this punch. The giant green crab sensed the danger and quickly retreated from the battlefield. Feigu's eyes gleamed with madness as he chuckled, "Ha ha ha, Bangu, that attack was incredible. You will die without regrets. The saints will be proud of the three of you." Boom! The enhanced three-headed dragon god clashed bare-handed with the black hole fist wind. It resisted the immense suction, and the three dragon heads roared skyward, unleashing their fiercest dragon cries. Roar! This was a pure contest of strength. Crack! The black hole shattered like glass. From the heavens, the 6 heavenly gods descended, fists clenched with 6 arms, slamming Bangu into the earth. A shockwave surged forth, shaking the entirety of the giant axe canyon. Boom! 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 Blow after blow. Blow after blow to the flesh, they exchanged their bodies using their opponent's methods. Bangu's already collapsed body continued to shrink and condense under the relentless assault. Yet still, he laughed maniacally. Human, ascend to the upper realms. True experts of the amethyst race await you there. Noisy. After countless punches, Bangu fell silent, utterly deceased. In the deep crater, only a 1-meter diameter sphere of purple crystal remained, stunningly beautiful. Meanwhile, the giant green crab reduced Feigu to countless fragments. Feigu met his end. The 6 heavenly gods ascended into the sky, entering Levi's body. Descending into the pit, he planted his dragon claw on the amethyst, a disdainful grin spreading across his face. Bullshit, invincible clan. Our dragon abomination clan reigns supreme. Chapter 1169, The Birth of a Wondrous Object, The Breakthrough of the Dead Ember, The Dragon of Nirvana. 1. The Senior State Assembly. The ancient saints gazed fervently at the projection high in the sky. This is the true might of the initial ancient saint. The Emperor's Majesty. Those who follow wicked paths dare to anger the Emperor. Death is too light a punishment for them. The ancient saints recognized Levi's manifestation of the 6 heavenly gods, having witnessed it before. Dusk Holy Temple. The knights, known for their robust physiques, were even more exhilarated. This is the kind of battle I crave. I'll go into seclusion. If I don't become a level 1 knight within 3 years, I'm no man. I have this feeling that this monster's aura is somewhat similar to our commander's, but it's too ugly to be him. If you ask me, the commander is probably in seclusion somewhere. Endless Sea. The Ocean Abyss Alliance. A young body-refining wizard's eyes burned with fervor. Damn it! If I had known such a being existed, I wouldn't have gone into seclusion. I, the Supreme Fist Wizard, cannot fight such a being. It's heartbreaking. Missing this opportunity meant that to battle the Amethyst race or the Dragon Abomination, he would have to step into the primordial soul and travel between planes. However, these races were rare and mostly stayed in their own planes, protected by 10th level beings. He couldn't recklessly invade their strongholds. Seclusion has ruined me. Central Realm. The perceptive dragonfly wizard examined the images brought by his subordinates. Dragon abomination? Why does it remind me of the demon sword dragon wizard? Or perhaps, the demon sword dragon wizard wasn't a dragon descendant at all, but a dragon abomination. The more the dragonfly wizard analyzed, the more his thoughts spiraled off course. The Nine Hells. The fifth layer. A solitary figure walked silently through the desolate wilderness. His upper body was bare, covered in menacing black scales that served as a demonic armor. In his hand, he held a black demonic sword, his body engulfed in ever-burning black flames, resembling a true demon. Around his waist hung the severed heads of 3 devil dukes and a large wine jug. He sat down on the ground, taking a deep swig from the jug, exhaling a breath of alcohol as he spoke. Lately, I've been feeling restless, as if someone's been talking about me behind my back. Speaking of which, with the ancient tower opening, the wizard world must be quite lively. As the offspring of the purgatory Black King Dragon, he had descended into hell to escape his enemies, slaughtering devils to avenge his mother and to hone his purgatory demon sword path. His name was Demon Sword Dragon Wizard Sodaros. Outside the ancient tower, the land of darkness. Suspended in the void, Grias propped his chin on his hand, sitting atop a volcano, watching the scene unfold. Is the dragon abomination really this powerful? Could it be that Sodaros has a hidden ace? As a 10th level being, he typically only watched the grand dramas of the higher layers. However, occasionally, even the lower layers presented some interesting small plays. The recent battle, where a dragon abomination had slaughtered 3 amethyst race members, was exceptionally entertaining, even to his discerning eye. What? Our dragon abomination defeating the amethyst race isn't standard practice. A colossal black dragon's projection appeared behind Grias, gazing intently at the 3rd layer of the ancient tower, clearly enjoying the spectacle. This was none other than the dragon abomination Venerable, Atheris. Are you only brave enough to send a projection here? Grias teased. Humph, I'm not as idle as you. Atheris retorted. This place was too close to the wizard world. If his true form appeared, it would surely draw the attention of the legendary wizards. He wasn't like Grias, who was a sworn brother of Sauron, and therefore not targeted by the Congress of Legendary Wizards. In truth, Atheris was puzzled. He had his subordinates investigate, and among the dispatched dragon abominations, none had the capability to manifest 3 heads and 6 arms. However, the opponent didn't seem to be a fake. The appearance of a dragon abomination might be easy to disguise, but the insane and domineering aura was not something that could be imitated. Perhaps a wandering dragon abomination has returned. Come home, child. The dragon abomination plane is your true home. This father of dragon abominations whispered to himself. Dark ancient tower. The 3rd layer. Hurricane Gorge. Levi collected the massive amethyst crystal. This can be used for weapon refinement, comparable in quality to 5th level materials, albeit without elemental attributes. Scattered in the pit were numerous storage rings and wizard tools, remnants from the bodies of the amethyst race. Unfortunately, many had been destroyed in the recent battle. In fact, storage rings could be damaged, the lower their level, the more easily they broke. Given Levi's current realm, even 4th circle storage rings could be accidentally shattered. Thus, when facing weak enemies, he preferred to pierce them with his sword to avoid indiscriminate attacks that might destroy the rings. If a storage ring shattered, its internal space would also collapse. The contents might spill out if lucky, but otherwise, they'd be lost in spatial turbulence. This time, the enemy was formidable, forcing Levi to use the 6 heavenly gods to suppress them. As a result, he couldn't fully control his strength, leading to the destruction of a few rings. Thankfully, the easily destroyed rings were usually of poor quality, with little chance of holding valuable items. Still, it was always painful to lose any potential treasures. Chapter 1170, The Birth of a Wondrous Object, The Breakthrough of the Dead Ember, The Dragon of Nirvana. 2. Levi, like a diligent and thrifty farmer, carefully collected the surviving spoils scattered on the ground. Afterward, he surveyed the devastated gorge. The battle with the amethyst race had left mountains sheared, and the earth fractured. In some places, specks of blue and silver light flickered, and Levi even spotted a hint of gold. Void sand. He was astonished. These sands were hidden within the mountains, and under normal spiritual perception, they seemed no different from ordinary sand. Therefore, mining them required painstaking excavation. Now, after such a cataclysmic battle, many of the ores had naturally surfaced, which was an unexpected boon. Levi quickly summoned the corpse demon to help him gather the exposed minerals. In his hand, he held a small handful of golden sand, as light as a feather. Void sand, once refined, can enable wizard tools to traverse the void, becoming invisible. It can create invisible wind element blades for attack, and even corrode other wizard tools. Its uses are endless. Clearly, this small amount was insufficient to craft a soul artifact. Levi planned to find a land of underground fire, refine half of it, and reforge his wind thunder wings. As a precious 6th level material, even a small amount could enhance the wind thunder wings quality. The other half he would keep for future use. Acquiring such a material in the wizard world would be much harder. After cleaning up the battlefield, Levi noticed the giant blue crab hiding in the distant clouds, peering at him with two telescope-like eyes, acting suspiciously. It held a piece of amethyst in its claw, albeit only a third the size of Levi's. After the amethyst race died, they would ultimately condense into amethyst. These amethysts, if returned to the amethyst plane, could regain their spirit and vitality, eventually giving birth to new amethyst race members. Levi marveled at what a perfect species they were. To be honest, dealing with 3 level 4 peak amethyst race members was more challenging than facing Madame Ghost. The giant blue crab tossed the amethyst over, letting it roll to Levi's feet. "You want to give this to me?" Levi asked, feeling a surge of emotion. The crab shook its claw, then produced a shiny gold coin from somewhere, showing it to Levi. Levi recognized it as currency from some mortal civilization in a certain plane, just ordinary gold. Suspicious, Levi asked, "Are you asking if I have this?" The crab nodded, scuttling back and forth in the clouds, its claw waving. At that moment, Levi felt like he was watching a merchant rubbing his hands together, asking for money. "You like gold coins, fate coins? That's easy." With a wave of his hand, a pile of gold coins, which had been gathering dust in his storage bags, flew toward the giant blue crab. The crab moved swiftly, catching each coin with its claws without missing a single one. Its eyes shone with genuine joy. Levi understood. This might be a crab with the true bloodline of the pure-blooded dragon clan. So it liked gold coins. Of course, this was just his wild guess. Creatures like this giant blue crab, a level 5 transcendent being, though unable to speak, possessed intelligence comparable to humans. Thus, it had its own personality and hobbies. Liking gold coins was perfectly reasonable. Who didn't like money? Levi was secretly pleased, exchanging a pile of practically useless mundane gold for a near level 5 weapon-making material. The giant blue crab looked as if it had made a great deal, unaware that it had been swindled. "If you have any other things you don't need, you can come to the Flying Scythe Beast's graveyard to trade with me." After setting up the array again, Levi left the battlefield and returned to the graveyard. The giant blue crab, deep in thought, led its followers back to its lair on clouds. Seeing Levi safe and sound, his subordinates breathed a sigh of relief. From this battle, Levi had gained a deep understanding of the combat prowess of the Amethyst race. This race was even stronger than he had imagined. Their arrogance was well-founded. What impressed Levi the most was their combat techniques. Simple and unadorned, yet each move was deadly. Moreover, the Amethyst race members were incredibly brave, fearless in the face of death, and willing to sacrifice themselves in battle to deliver a powerful blow, even burning themselves to become their teammates' strength. Of course, Levi had not used all his strength in this battle. He had not employed his wizarding skills. Firstly, to maintain his disguise as a dragon abomination and avoid revealing too many of his abilities. Secondly, he wanted to test the extent of his knightly abilities. The results were satisfying. Relying on the 4th transformation of the blood source. Golden Snake, 3rd transformation. Crimson Emperor Dragon, Scarlet Dragon, Sky Dragon, 2nd transformation. Death Ember Dragon, and Nightmare Dragon. Even without using the game-breaking abilities like the 6 heavenly gods, he could still overpower the Amethyst race, renowned across the Pan Plane for their invincible physical prowess. However, achieving complete annihilation required more effort. When he did employ the 6 heavenly gods, in their full form, Even the combined explosive attack of 3 Amethyst race members, powerful enough to severely injure a typical 5th circle wizard, was blocked by the gods. In the end, one Amethyst race member burned itself to launch a stunning attack, the Star Devourer punch. This punch, if directly confronted, would obliterate a 5th circle being like Madame Ghost, reducing her to ashes. Even Sarit couldn't withstand it head-on. But Levi still had hidden aces up his sleeve. He activated 3 special forms, Nightmare Descent, Furious Dragon Lord, and Giant Dragon Warrior. Chapter 1171, The Birth of a Wondrous Object, The Breakthrough of the Dead Ember, The Dragon of Nirvana. 3. At that moment, the 6 heavenly gods transformed once more, advancing into the form of the 3-headed dragon god. This was the second special form of the 6 heavenly gods that Levi had developed. The first form, created with the help of the 7 kings of Hell array, was the celestial divine weapon soldier. Indeed, battling with strong opponents is the best way to hone combat skills. Sometimes, unless you push yourself to the limit, you can't truly unleash your full potential, Levi reflected. However, this approach conflicted with his usual cautious strategy. Once I return from the ancient tower, I will immediately start developing the nightmare world. In the nightmare world, I can fight without the fear of death, refining my combat techniques, he mused. Since entering the dark ancient tower, Levi had gained immensely, even without the treasures. Here, he had the opportunity to confront powerful alien races, understand his enemies, and, most importantly, gain a clearer understanding of himself. In Levi's view, this was the true purpose of Sauron's creation of the Dark Ancient Tower. It wasn't just to allow wizards to enter but also to serve a greater purpose. Sauron wanted wizards to clash with inherently powerful alien races in this intense arena, recognizing the limitations and shortcomings of wizard civilization, thereby learning from these encounters and promoting the evolution of their civilization. In the Ancient Tower, the enforcers of order were impartial, allowing free slaughter as long as it didn't involve overwhelming unfairness. This ensured that the wizard civilization remained humble and progressive, avoiding complacency. Over 3 years of combat, countless so-called genius wizards had fallen here, delivering a harsh lesson to many wizard organizations. Levi suddenly had an epiphany: there are no true geniuses in this world, only those with a relentless pursuit of greater strength. Sauron stood tall and saw far. Levi admired him greatly and felt a surge of heroic ambition. The wheel of fate turns. If Sauron can claim the title of the strongest in the Pan Plane, why can't I, Levi? Calming himself, he began to inventory the spoils from the Amethyst race. These guys had likely killed many wizards. Now, all their loot belonged to Levi. Most of these wizards were nomadic wizards with no power or background, so they were quite poor. Even so, Levi's Etherstone reserves had grown to 6 million. He sighed, I spent everything before entering the ancient tower, only to find myself back where I started. The more I spend, the more I earn. Apart from Etherstones, there were also some wizarding knowledge he didn't possess, including spell models, pharmacology, and weapon craftsmanship legacies. There was even a 4th circle array wizard's legacy called the Complete Guide to Trap Arrays. It contained many trap arrays not found in the Book of Cipher. Levi categorized all the knowledge and added it to his library. Then he turned to the various wizard tools, some intact, others damaged. There were low-level and middle-level wizard tools, and even a damaged 5th circle wizard tool called the Azure Sky Secret Sword. It was a Scion long sword, a wind element wizard tool, looking both graceful and incredibly sharp. This wizard tool could only perform part of its functions. Judging by the worn handle, it had clearly been a treasured heirloom of some nomadic wizard. Once I reach the 5th circle, I can reforge it with mist sand. Whether I use it myself or sell it, it would be a good choice, Levi mused. Among the spoils, there were various bottles, jars, and boxes, mostly containing herbs, potions, and rare materials. These wizards might not have been very powerful, but there were many of them, making up in quantity what they lacked in quality. Gathering up these wizard relics, Levi said, Don't worry, your deaths won't be in vain. Once I reach the 5th circle, I'll kill more Amethyst race members to avenge you. Additionally, before Levi lay a pile of level 3 and above elemental metals, stacked like a small mountain. These had all come from the stomachs of the Amethyst race. The Amethyst race consumed rare metal ores, and these must have been metals they hadn't yet digested. Earth elements, wind elements, fire elements. They had it all. Most of them were not very high grade, mostly level 3 and level 4. There was, however, a piece of 5th level black gold fire ore. Levi sighed, it's too small to reforge the Crimson Dragon Slash. I'll save it for now. When I reach the 5th level and find more fire elemental metals, I can combine them with the remains of the amethyst race to reforge the Crimson Dragon Slash. As he was about to collect all the ores, his eyes caught something. In a semi-transparent water element ore, he found a sealed blue ring. He retrieved the ring. Song of the Sea, Heidi's ring. Murmuring, he opened it. Out spilled an array of colorful silk robes, intimate clothing, all exuding a faint, clean fragrance. And a corpse. I can sense that this person practiced a breathing technique and was a blood-awakening knight in life. Intrigued, Levi carefully examined the corpse. The body was dry and devoid of any vitality or spirit. Generally, wizards who died of old age ended up this way. Judging by the bone structure and facial features, he must have been quite handsome. Not unlike myself, Levi remarked, stroking his broad chin. In a corner, there was a neatly arranged set of knight armor and a knight's greatsword. All relics now, battered and worn. This knight must have been a brave and fierce warrior in life. A yellowed letter slipped from the armor. Stranger, if you have found my armor and sword, please bury them behind Shuran Castle in the Emerald Kingdom. I am destitute and have nothing to offer in return but my heartfelt wish for your lifelong safety. Snow Knight Flare. Chapter 1172, The Birth of a Wondrous Object, The Breakthrough of the Dead Ember, The Dragon of Nirvana. 4. After reading the letter, Levi fell into a silent reverie, his emotions churning. Among the 7 legends, you were the last one I hadn't met. Why couldn't you wait for me? Well, never mind. I will fulfill your last wish. Tulip Hill is my hometown too. At that moment, Levi felt a pang of sorrow, like a fox lamenting the death of a rabbit. But at least your legendary title lives on, passed down through the generations, much better than mine, Levi murmured. He took out a cup of snow beer and raised it to the desiccated corpse before him, toasting across time and space. After finishing his drink, Levi carefully gathered the remains and belongings of the Snowflake Knight. The era of old legendary knights has ended. May all the deceased rest in peace. The new era will be forged by me, the Supreme Knight, he declared solemnly. The witch who owned this ring must have been quite powerful, judging by the high-quality materials inside. Among them, a pitch-black heart caught his attention. This is the heart of some kind of demon, Levi thought. He called over the Mind Flayer and asked, can you identify this? The Mind Flayer nodded and said, Master, this is the heart of a 5th-level night demon. In the abyss, night demons are a significant race, with many powerful night demons serving as lords in various layers. Got it. Continue mining. Dig 3 feet deep in this canyon, and we're bound to find more ores, Levi commanded. Yes, Master. Apart from the undead spirits guarding the array and patrolling, Levi's other minions were all mining in Giant Axe Canyon. Levi, meanwhile, acted like a laid-back boss, resembling a coal baron. The night demon's heart must be used to refine some kind of potion, Levi speculated. As if to confirm his guess, he discovered an ancient potion recipe shortly after. Eternal Darkness of the Night Demon, a 5th circle potion requiring the heart of a 5th-level night demon, the heart of a level 4 eye beast, level 4 lightless grass, and black dew. Once concocted, this potion can increase crystallization success rate by about 15%. Levi was overjoyed. His search for a 5th circle breakthrough potion had been fruitless, and this recipe, along with the night demon's heart, was a godsend. A 15% increase in success rate for a 5th circle breakthrough potion was above average. Even the best potions only provided about a 20% increase. Levi thought to himself, if I can find a ready-made 5th circle potion, great. If not, I can have someone make it. The witch's family excelled in pharmacy, and their group surely included a 5th circle pharmacist. He could ask Anya to connect him with a reliable pharmacist. In addition to the potion ingredients, the ring contained some worthless wizard tools and common ocean school of thought spells. None of these caught Levi's interest. However, in a corner of the ring, he found a carefully sealed box. To avoid any traps, Levi activated his protective force field and opened the box. Inside was a moldy, ancient black book. Levi stared at the blood-red characters on the cover. The Necromancer's Codex, sounds ominous, Levi mused. He opened the book to the first page and read the introduction. Life is about to accelerate. Anonymous. What on earth? Levi dismissed the cryptic introduction, skimming through the rest of the book's contents. His heart began to race, and he had to force himself to calm down. This is a forbidden technique. He immediately shut the book, not daring to read further. He feared that he might unconsciously memorize the spells and be tempted to use them. He wasn't exaggerating. This was a book of forbidden knowledge. The contents were filled with an extreme allure, guaranteed to entice those with weak wills into learning and using them. Levi trusted his own willpower, but he felt it was better not to take any chances. Out of sight, out of mind. These secret techniques offered immense power but came with terrifying drawbacks. The common downside was a reduction in lifespan. This was completely against Levi's belief in longevity. Given his talents and capabilities, he didn't need these forbidden techniques to gain power. He had better options. The first forbidden technique was Step of Ascension. This technique once circulated in the Endless Sea. A dark wizard leader, Mad Wizard Pucci, had comprehended this secret technique from a Grand Wizard's Mark of Truth, detailed in chapter 172. This secret technique was touted as the path to godhood. Practicing it promised rapid progress, ultimately leading to godhood. Pucci, who was said to be of average talent, became a fifth circle wizard at the age of 400 by practicing this technique. He even encouraged others to learn it. However, this technique had a dreadful side effect: it induced a state of madness in the wizard, blurring the lines between reality and illusion. The afflicted would spout nonsense and often attack others indiscriminately. Pucci was soon captured and died of old age in prison within 6 months. This pointed to the second effect of the technique. The faster one advanced using this technique, the shorter their lifespan. In the most extreme cases, a wizard would break through one moment and die the next. In addition to the Step of Ascension, there was another forbidden technique with severe side effects, the 9 Lives Secret Technique. By sacrificing their own lifespan to a great entity, practitioners could gain a boost in power. The amount of lifespan sacrificed wasn't fixed. It varied depending on the practitioner's realm, race, the number of great entities involved, and the desired amount of power. Chapter 1173, The Birth of a Wondrous Object, The Breakthrough of the Dead Ember, The Dragon of Nirvana. 5. One could offer sacrifices to at most 9 great entities simultaneously. At that moment, the practitioner's life would immediately reach its end, possibly even incurring a debt of longevity that innocent future lives would have to repay. Levi calculated. For humans, a short-lived species, it was impossible. Even for most longevity species, whose lifespans were several times longer than humans, it was no different. For instance, members of the Blood Clan, the Dragon Clan, Elves, the Amethyst race, and others could not afford to use it frequently. Moreover, this method of sacrifice consumed all of one's life until death, only to potentially elevate one's realm by a single level. The cost far outweighed the benefits. Of course, if faced with a mortal crisis, one might consider using it as a last resort. However, given Levi's disposition, such a life or death crisis was unlikely to ever arise. And if it did, a single realm's elevation wouldn't solve the problem anyway. This was why he decided to seal the book away. This book might be suitable for some races whose lifespans were nearly eternal. For example, Grias, an innate god whose lifespan was as long as the heavens and earth in the Red Plain. Apart from such exceptions, any other race that started using it would be trapped, like gambling with no way out. The problem was, a being like Grias was likely on the same level as those so-called great entities and wouldn't care for the power they bestowed. Useless thing, Levi muttered, shaking his head. There were other methods in the Codex, but they were probably no better. He decided not to read further. He put aside the Necromancer's Codex, focusing wholeheartedly on his cultivation, waiting for the emergence of the truth oddity. 3 months later, in the secret room, within the array that enhanced the fire element, Levi had already used his Crimson Emperor Dragon Flames to smelt all the Amethyst race remains together. Playing the Dragon Abomination, it's not ideal to always fight barehanded. Might as well forge a weapon suited for the Dragon Abomination. The Crimson Dragon Slash was easily recognizable, and its quality was lacking. It had been damaged last time and needed to be nurtured back to health. Until it was reforged, Levi wouldn't use it. These Amethyst race remains were the best material for forging a weapon. He only needed to smelt them, add some supplementary ingredients, and shape them to his liking. For the Dragon Abomination, no fancy functions were needed. One word, hardness. Time flew by. Another month passed. In the secret room, Levi's weapon was finally forged to completion. A spiked club, over 10 feet long and covered in purple spikes, emerged. The head of the club was a menacing dragon's skull. This is the divine weapon suited for my current identity. Levi held the spiked club, swinging it effortlessly. The powerful gusts it generated made the array tremble. He went to the giant axe canyon, stretching his dragon abomination body, which was as tall as a 2-story building, and started warming up. Then, his muscles tensed, power surged, scales bristled, and the black flames of his dragon abomination blood chi coiled around the spiked club. With one swing, the black flames surged forth, penetrating deep into one side of the canyon. The mountain split open, forming a 1,000-meter deep chasm with black flames clinging to it. The scene was like the aftermath of a god's wrath. Levi was overjoyed. The spiked club felt perfect in his hands. It was just as smooth and familiar as his longsword, without a hint of awkwardness. It felt as if his dragon abomination form was destined to wield a spiked club as his wizard tool. If the 6 heavenly gods wielded this spiked club, they could probably crush a 5th circle wizard. Levi was thoroughly satisfied. This club needs a name. Until the Crimson Dragon Slash is reforged, this will be my main weapon. Let's call it the Black Dragon Rod. Now armed with his new weapon, Levi immersed himself in his training, continuing as the hidden boss of the Giant Axe Canyon dungeon. In the blink of an eye, the new year arrived. In the year 1169 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, the month of beginning, the 4th year of the Dark Ancient Tower calendar. At the 68th Round Table meeting, Levi learned that another member had broken through to become a Blood Awakening Knight. This new member was named Eir, titled the Feather Knight. He hailed from the Dragonhawk family, a noble house of the Molten Kingdom. Their inherited breathing technique was the excellent quality Dragonhawk breathing technique, a strength-type technique. Dragonhawks, legendary divine birds of immense strength, bore the name dragon because of their ability to battle dragons with their great power, despite having no dragon blood. Additionally, the Dragonhawk breathing technique had notable speed attributes. In this respect, it was similar to the Maya breathing technique, an endurance-type breathing technique with decent speed attributes. Eagles are perfect creatures, aerial killing machines with no apparent weaknesses. With this addition, the Twilight Knights now had 14 full members, leaving only 4 positions vacant. During Levi's absence, the members had been growing stronger quietly. By the end of last year, the Blood Knight had entered the 2nd transformation of the Blood Source realm and forged his divine weapon, the Wind Moon Sword. With the divine weapon, combined with his talent brand and powerful combat techniques, his strength was now comparable to that of a senior 3rd circle wizard. Nighthawk, who focused solely on the path of the knight without wizard talents, also entered the 2nd transformation of the Blood Source realm. His divine weapon was the Ash Greatsword. Seeing the Blood Knight and Nighthawk's divine weapons emerge made the Black Knight and others envious. They were now eagerly pushing towards the 2nd transformation of the Blood Source realm, aiming to forge their own divine weapons. The 1000 Illusion Knight successfully stepped into the 2nd level Knight realm, elated by the achievement. The Goddess Knight had begun preparations for advancing to a 3rd circle wizard. Even Emperor Mu, through continuous consumption of potions, had advanced to a 2nd circle wizard. Chapter 1174, The Birth of a Wondrous Object, The Breakthrough of the Dead Ember, The Dragon of Nirvana. 6. Silver Dragon, Dark Moon, and Halberd had all made progress as well. The Combat Technique and Branding Research Committee was growing, and research was speeding up. In the Giant Beast Paradise and the Ancient Dragon Empire, everything was steadily improving. The development of the entire Ancient Saint Plane wasn't fast, but it was steady. This time, the Flower Knight also attended the meeting. Levi learned that the Flower Knight had successfully entered the 7th level. Sarit had also infiltrated it with a primordial soul wizard from the Letny family. Whether they could seize the truth oddity now depended on their luck. Levi continued to emphasize, life first, oddity second. After the meeting, Levi returned to his cultivation routine. During this period, he could feel the 3rd level becoming increasingly calm. The higher one ascended in the Dark Ancient Tower, the larger the area became. By comparison, the 3rd level wasn't particularly vast, and with so many wizards and other races exploring it, the resource points had likely all been claimed. The established order of interests was already in place. Those with the power to ascend further had long since left the 3rd level. The 5th level was the true land of dreams for most non-primordial soul wizards. On the amethyst race front, after those 4 were killed, no one came seeking revenge, likely because the rest had all moved to the 4th level or higher. In the ancient tower, with so many different races, most individuals were weaker than the wizards. The only exceptions were the amethyst race, the dragon abominations, and another race from ancient tombs, who were on par with the wizards in terms of individual strength. But their numbers were far fewer than those of the wizards. Overall, the ancient tower was still dominated by wizards. Meanwhile, tales of the 3-headed dragon abomination began to spread in small circles across the Pan Plain. Some said this dragon abomination was the son of the dragon abomination Venerable, which was why he could take on 3 opponents at once and suppress the amethyst race. The dragon abomination Venerable did not come forward to dispel these rumors. Time flew by, and 6 months had passed. Levi's spiritual force steadily increased, lighting up star after star. His 4th circle protective force field, the Earth Burst Barrier, reached level 10. His 4th talent, Thunder Dragon Flash, had been cultivated to its maximum limit at level 11, allowing him to fly with lightning speed. Even without using night techniques or entering the Scarlet Dark Dimension, the normal flying speed of Thunder Dragon Flash, boosted by the Chariot Rune, surpassed that of most ordinary 5th circle wizards, significantly enhancing his survival abilities. Additionally, Wind Dragon Scamper reached level 10, and Ice Dragon Prison reached level 9. Sunstrike and Thunder Dog had long since reached their maximum levels. The Gargoyle Body Tempering technique had been cultivated to the level of a 3rd circle body refining wizard. Catching up to the Deep Blue Sage Body Tempering technique was only a matter of time. On the night front, the Golden Snake Breathing technique, at level 16, was running low on secret medicine and would soon be out of stock. Once he obtained the Truth Oddity, Levi had to leave this place. His primary task was to find mixed blood dragon clan members with water and earth attributes. One day, Levi suddenly sensed some commotion outside. He quickly emerged from his secluded cultivation spot, only to see a giant blackbird soaring high in the sky, letting out a clear cry. Its belly feathers were fiery red, exuding a scorching aura. "This is a crimson netherworld sparrow? You little thing, you've transformed from a sparrow to a phoenix. It seems that only in the face of life and death can you truly unlock your potential." To avoid being turned into soup, the crimson netherworld sparrow had fought with all its might, unlocking its full bloodline potential and finally breaking through to level 4. The crimson netherworld sparrow descended from the sky, its body shrinking magically during the descent until it became a tiny sparrow, landing unobtrusively on Levi's shoulder. "Shape-shifting, hey? Is this a new ability you gained after reaching level 4? Levi asked. The crimson netherworld sparrow nodded. On the other shoulder, Qing Niao curiously observed the crimson netherworld sparrow. Before Levi could enjoy his happiness for too long, he noticed that within the array, the scythe breath was becoming increasingly restless, colliding with the barriers. In the sky, clouds gathered, and a dense concentration of wind elemental power was drawn towards the flying scythe beast's graveyard. This force was comparable to a low-powered primordial soul condensation. This was the sign of a truth oddity about to emerge. "Haha, today is a great day, everything is coming together, a double blessing." Levi hummed a tune, feeling inexplicably elated. The crimson netherworld sparrow had broken through to level 4, and the truth oddity was about to emerge. Soon, he would be able to end his 3-year tenure as the dungeon boss. Levi ordered his subordinates to guard the canyon and prevent anyone from interfering. Gripping his spiked club, he sat at the graveyard, personally acting as the protector for the emergence of the truth oddity. Boom! The wind element gathered into a whirlwind. The scythe breath opened its small mouth, inhaling the endless wind elemental power with the storm. It was unclear how long this lasted. The figure of the scythe breath solidified completely, its wings flapping as it soared high, looking no different from an ordinary flying scythe beast. With its wings strong, it tried to escape, but unfortunately, Levi had already set up Heaven's net. He reached out and grabbed the scythe breath, which was darting around in the array. "No time to waste. Let's refine it now and then set off to avoid any unforeseen troubles." Having experience with refining the water dragon's song, Levi was adept at refining the scythe breath. Afterward, Levi successfully prepared the advancement potion for the Inferno Dragon breathing technique and began to assimilate it using the blood refinement technique. Time flew by, and a month passed. In the Holy Brilliance calendar 1169, month of harvest, Levi had refined about a third of the scythe breath, expecting it would take another 2 months to complete the process. One day, in the secret room, Levi fully assimilated the potion for the Death Ember Dragon. He looked inwardly at his body. Beside the Golden Snake, Crimson Emperor, Sky, and Scarlet Divine Palace, another Divine Palace appeared between the Golden Snake and Crimson Emperor. The Death Ember Divine Palace. Inside the Divine Palace lay a bed of ash, exuding an aura of death and decay. However, in the center of the ash, within the still hot embers, a pitch-black egg was hatching, seemingly nurturing something. Levi could sense the powerful resurgence of life within the egg. It starkly contrasted with the surrounding deathly silence and decay. "Come forth," he murmured, like a father calling to his child. The next moment, with a unique and clear dragon roar, the eggshell shattered. A slender dragon, draped in immortal black feathers and wreathed in black flames, emerged. It flew around the Death Ember Divine Palace, its tail feathers long like a phoenix's. Levi opened his eyes. With a single thought, black blood chi surged, revealing a breathtaking sight behind him. From the thick ash, a massive charred tree rose to the sky. At the top of the tree, a black feathered dragon descended, its voice clear. At that moment, Levi had already decided on the name of his Dharma idol. Nirvana Dragon. Chapter 1175, Undying Nirvana Rebirth. 5th Dharma Idol. Nirvana Dragon. Its functions were extremely powerful. First of all, it was still the improvement of his basic constitutional attributes. The qualitative change in his self-healing ability and the growth of white bones and flesh were just ordinary. Levi's current self-healing ability was comparable to the immortal blood clan or the undead creatures. Of course, it was still far from the legendary blood rebirth. Moreover, the most important organ, the head, could not be destroyed. Before the power of Death Ember Dragon was exhausted, other than the head, Levi could regenerate his other organs, even his heart, multiple times in an instant. According to the importance of the organs, the power of the Death Ember Dragon that is consumed would also be different. This ability was comparable to that of a boss, and Levi could barely be considered to have a limit to his indestructible ability. The second function of the Nirvana Dragon was even more powerful. This ability was called Nirvana. After activating his Dharma idol, if Levi was heavily injured, his life was in danger, or he was on the verge of death, he could enter the state of pseudocide through the Nirvana ability and then consume all the power of Death Ember Dragon to instantly revive with full health. After the resurrection, Levi's Death Ember Dragon seed would activate Nirvana form. In the Nirvana form, Levi's 6 dimensions would have a significant increase in all attributes, an increase of about 10%. The duration of the Nirvana form was related to Levi's endurance. With the realm of his Sky Dragon breathing technique, it should be enough for him to deal with a strong enemy. After entering Nirvana form, Levi would enter a weakened state that was similar to Scarlet Escape, but this weakened state was longer. The greater the ability, the greater the price. With Levi's current realm, he could only activate the Nirvana form once. If he were to suffer another serious injury, he could only rely on the resurrection special effect to find a safe place and slowly recover his body. He had a feeling that the limit of the Death Ember Dragon breathing technique wasn't a one-time Nirvana. As his realm increased, he should be able to undergo a second or third Nirvana. After each Nirvana, its attributes would increase by 10% on top of its initial attributes. In other words, the more Levi died, the stronger he became. Of course, with Levi's personality and way of doing things, there was a high chance that he would never use this Nirvana ability in his entire life. What a joke, that could only be triggered when one was heavily injured and on the verge of death. If there's an emergency, I can self-injure myself to trigger Nirvana rebirth and activate the Nirvana form. Levi had an idea. However, after thinking about it, it was still inappropriate. It would be best if he could never use this special effect. Levi had always treated the Death Ember Dragon breathing technique as his last line of defense and trump card. No matter what, undying, indestructible, and capable of Nirvana rebirth, he's worthy of the name of the Nirvana Dragon. Levi opened his proficiency panel. Levi. Death Ember breathing technique, level 15, 1/700,000. Special effect, inextinguishable ember body, level 3, resurrection, ashen entanglement, ember call. Bloodline Dharma idol, Nirvana Dragon, exclusive weapon, indestructible armor, level 3. In this way, apart from the Nightmare Dragon breathing technique, the other 5 breathing techniques had all advanced to the 3rd transformation of the blood source. The Golden Snake was at the 4th change of the 4th transformation of the blood source. Looking at the crimson netherworld sparrow on his shoulder, Levi felt gratified. I see that you have the looks of an undying bird, he said while stroking its head. Continue to work hard and keep up the good work. The Crimson Netherworld Sparrow had a bad feeling. It couldn't be that he was going to force me to advance to level 5, right? Advancing to level 4 had already exhausted all of its potential. It was impossible for it to reach level 5. It was not that it did not want to work hard, but that its bloodline was limited. With the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow reaching level 4, the problem of Death Ember Dragon's secret medicine was easily solved. Of course, he would continue to look for higher level creatures with the Undying Bird bloodline. After all, with the potential of the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow's bloodline, what he said just now was nothing more than a white lie. After entering the ancient tower for so long, Levi had used up all of the Golden Snake secret medicine he had stored up, so he decided to stop cultivating the Golden Snake breathing technique. This time, he placed his focus on the Crimson Emperor Dragon breathing technique. This was the foundation of Levi's strength, the greatest contributor to his ability to kill enemies of a higher realm. Time flew by. Year 5 of the Dark Ancient Tower Calendar. Year 1170 of the Holy Brilliance Calendar, the month of vitality. Levi was 180 years old. At the 69th Round Table meeting, Levi learned that a new Blood Awakening Knight had been born. This knight was none other than the Snapping Turtle Knight who had fought with the Halberd Knight and lost. The Snapping Turtle Knight also had a title in the Knight Order. Turtle Knight. Because his armor had once been touched by his idol Supreme Knight, he had never cleaned his armor since then. Dust, dirt, and moss had already grown on it. It looked similar to a turtle shell. In addition, he was good at defense, just like a turtle. That was why he was called the Turtle Knight. The Snapping Turtle breathing technique was only an excellent breathing technique. However, if one cultivated it to the end of their bloodline, it would not be a problem for them to possess the strength of a primordial soul. At that time, he could use the evolution potion to promote the evolution of his bloodline, break through the shackles, and take another step forward. Now, the official members of the Knight Division had already reached 15 people. There were only 3 spots left before it was filled. During this period, the other knights were all rubbing their fists and trying to get into the last 3 spots. In response, Levi emphasized that the 18 members of the knights were not fixed. As long as one had good character and sufficient strength, they could challenge any existing member.